All right, welcome everybody to your TWitWoW Quarterly Q&A. We ended up with 44 questions this quarter. Really nice amount. I'm pretty happy with that. I know John is too. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into answering these. First set, as usual, is from Super Blue. His first question is: given that the Ultimate Warrior ended the Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental Championship reign, do you think that he would be able to do the same thing to Gunther's Intercontinental Championship reign in his prime?
No,
Um, you're not going to elaborate further?
no, because I understood that question right. He's asking if the Honky Tonk Man could beat Gunther like in his prime. Honky Tonk
No,
Man in his
it
prime.
was the other way around. Ultimate Warrior ended Honky Tonk Man's IC title reign.
Okay. I understand. Okay, now I misunderstood. Still no though.
Yeah,
No.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say I think Vince fucking loved Warrior, and yeah, I think even today, if someone like Ultimate Warrior was around, I 100% think that he would potentially be able to beat Gunther in his IC title reign for sure. Because I mean, realistically, his he was like coked up in his promos, but like that style is coming back around right now. Like that's literally 80% of AEW promos right now, especially for the men, or really
Yes.
only for the men. But the women don't really do the coked up promos. But so like that's kind of hot again now, and like Ultimate Warrior was like this big roided up guy who ran through people. I mean, that's kind of coming around again too. So yeah, I think even like today, I think that Ultimate Warrior, if he was around, he would definitely get that kind of push to the moon that he got back then. And being the one to end Gunther's IC title run is just one of the potential things that he could have done if he was around today. Yeah, for sure. Um, Second question from Super Blue: did you watch Walker Texas Ranger, the original with Chuck Norris?
My dad was a huge fan of that show. I watched a few episodes with him, but I was never a fan of the show. I've heard though that the newer series, which unfortunately got canceled for a lot of its fans, it did actually have a good bit of fanfare. But no, I wasn't that big of a fan of it.
You and I pretty much have the same answer. I watched a few episodes here and there, but I was never really what you would call a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Um, but then Super Blue followed up asking if you watched it with, if so, would the police force actually be a force for good like they're supposed to be?
That doesn't exist. No. Like, sooner or later, like, yeah, it would go south. Because that's the thing about television, right? As, like, a cultural medium, it's meant to keep up the propaganda for empire.
Yeah,
That's
all
why
this
you
really
never
tells
yeah.
me is that I never realized it, but Walker Texas Ranger was propaganda.
Yeah, absolutely. Propaganda is all around it. Even as recently as Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I is actually a show that I like because it gets laughs out of me. Let's not make a mistake, it's still propaganda through and through.
Yeah.
Um You can still have shows that but even shows that are, like, more politically left or more politically conscious, you notice that by and large, with maybe a few exceptions, and I would think something from a creator like Boots Riley or something,
Yeah.
even the more progressive shows are like, "Oh, it's just a bad officer, but the system's still salvageable." It's like, "No. No, like, say it with your whole chest that the system's the problem." So, like, I know it was a well-meaning question, Super Blue, but I just have to be adamant that, like, no, that does not exist, and I'm not even gonna, like, entertain the notion because I feel like that's just serving power, and I'm kind of sick of doing that. So, yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yes. Next question. Now that Cody has ruined everything, how long will it be before he starts killing the ratings and drives away the casuals?
Is that already happening? Because I feel like he's still kind of a drawing power, so I don't want to be like hyperbolic. It's
I
weird.
mean, the thing is, his episode of NXT didn't do very well at all.
No, it didn't, but he's still moving merch though at the same time,
He
and like
is
that's kind
well,
of
and you
confusing.
know what though? The funny thing about that is DBK comes in and posts merch numbers almost every week at this point, and Cody's always on the list, but he's never at the top of the list.
No, I feel like it's been a long while since he's been at the top. Like he might have been at the top like at his return and with his like mania pushes, but like as the champion, I haven't seen him since the number one spot. You're right.
Yeah, like the most recent post was 3 days ago, June 24th, and he wasn't in the top five of that one. I'm going to scroll back and see if I can find another one of these merch lists and see if I can find one with Cody actually in it. Let's see here. I'm scrolling as fast as I can while trying to actually legibly read each thing. Oh, here's one. Top selling t-shirts on WWE Shop right now. This is from June 14th. It's Jey Uso, Liv Morgan, it's a Bray Wyatt shirt, Eddie Guerrero, and the Raw logo shirt. So like, yeah, Jey Uso specifically has been at the top of all of these lists for months at this point. Jey Uso is a merch selling machine with those Yeet shirts. And I mean, I can even give you the excuse that Cody's merch doesn't sell because Cody's merch looks like shit. And like the target audience for people who would actually wear Cody's merch is literally like white supremacists and white nationalists and like fascist lovers and like bootlickers. Um, but like he has some merch that doesn't look like that, I think. I can't imagine all of his merch looks like that, right?
I would hope not. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And I mean, if it does, at a certain point, you gotta kind of start wondering, like, is he okaying this stuff? Because if so, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've thought too for a while.
yeah, like
Yeah.
June 6th, here I'm seeing Jey Uso is numbers 1 and 5. CM Punk is numbers 2 and 4. Roman Reigns is number 3. Um, then we get Randy Orton at number 7, NWO at number 8, Stone Cold at number 9, and finally Cody Rhodes at number 10. So that's how far we have to go for Cody Rhodes to even be in the top 10 of merch sellers. So yeah, no, Cody's merch isn't selling super great. If you go back a little further back on the 3rd of June, he's in the top 10 twice on the 6th and the 9th, but he hasn't been in the top 5 at all from what I can tell.
Right.
So yeah, no, Cody does move merch, but he's kind of another, well, and this is perfect because we've compared him to her for years, not months, but years now. He's kind of another Charlotte Flair, where like normally the more you push someone, the more of a draw they become, the more merch they move, the more viewers they draw. But the people who are the hardest pushed are normally the people who sell the most merch and draw the most viewers, etc. But there are some exceptions, and Cody and Charlotte are two of them because
Yeah.
they both are far and away the hardest pushed people. Cody right now and Charlotte at various points in her career, and never at any point have either of them been the best merch sellers during their eras that they're being pushed, pushed the hardest. So yeah, it's an asymmetry, and it's a great example of a little thing that I like to call, fuck, what's the word? God damn it, I had it and it left me. Nope, I almost had it again and it left me again. Nope, not a fallacy. Cost, not sunken cost, another kind of cost. Help me, John.
Uh oh God.
Opportunity cost, that's the word, found it.
Yeah.
It's a little thing that I like to call opportunity cost. So the idea of opportunity cost is even if you have something really, really, really good, the opportunity cost is what you don't have. It's like, you know, if you have a choice between making yourself spaghetti at home or driving to McDonald's and getting yourself some chicken nuggets and fries, then you are always going to have an opportunity cost in that situation because when you cook your spaghetti at home, then you will never have made the decision to go get the nuggets and fries at McDonald's. So the opportunity cost to having that homemade spaghetti is the McDonald's nuggets and fries. And like the opportunity cost to eating the nuggets and fries is the spaghetti. So basically, the opportunity cost is what you don't have because you made a certain decision. And the opportunity cost to pushing Cody to the moon is whoever would be in his place as the top guy right now if they hadn't done that. And there's a really good chance that whoever that might be would be the top merch seller because Cody clearly isn't.
Yeah, and to go back to the central point of the question, because it asked like how long before Cody kills ratings and drives away the casuals. Really, I think it'd be even more interesting to see how his SmackDown segments are doing. Like he is the SmackDown like WWE champion for the SmackDown
Yeah, that's a
brand,
great point.
and so I wonder if there's like a trend that we can extrapolate
I feel like
from
I've
his
posted
segments.
some SmackDown quarter hour breakdowns in wrestling discussion, but I know that I haven't been able to find like all of them. And SmackDown's kind of in an awkward position, you know, um, time slot wise because it's like Friday night, so like the actual ratings don't come out until Monday or Tuesday afterwards.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can find a quarter hour breakdown, just in our Discord. I know that one isn't necessarily a sign of a trend, but it could still be like a spec.
yeah, absolutely.
Specs are better than nothing, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. But I honestly, just to kind of give a bit of
Dynamite.
an answer for the question, because we really did want to like try and get some kind of an empirical basis for it. I wouldn't even be surprised by WrestleMania season people were looking for a changing of the guard. Like whoever Cody's challenger would be, if it would be compelling enough, I could see people wanting a new champion.
Well, and that's another
Um,
thing too. I'm glad you said that because so far they've done a really good job of protecting Cody.
yeah,
Because so far since his big win, he has literally only faced AJ Styles, and AJ Styles can carry just about anyone in a program because his mic skills are good enough, and in the ring, it doesn't fucking matter if you're absolute garbage. And I don't think Cody's garbage in the ring. I think he's decent in the ring. I think he's passable in the ring.
yeah,
But it doesn't matter because it's AJ Styles. AJ Styles is a guy that can carry literally anyone to a good or better match. So their two pay-per-view matches have been at least decent, at least pretty solid. And they literally pulled out the Mark Henry fake retirement to keep the program compelling. And it wasn't even well done, in my opinion. But I guess it doesn't matter if something is well done if it draws up enough feels because people remember that it was like the Mark Henry thing and they freaked out about it and they loved it. So there
yeah.
you go. But yeah, no, I think my best answer to the question directly is whenever the WWE slips up a little bit and thinks that they're putting him up against someone that'll continue to protect him, and whoever that is unable to continue protecting him. That's when the ratings are going to start slipping, and that's when the fan alienation is going to start happening. It might be earlier than that because Cody might just have so much cringe power on his own that he might alienate people without even someone failing to do their job of protecting him. It might literally just be too much for anyone to be able to handle because he's just that bad.
Yes.
And I have literally scrolled all the way up to the point now that I am looking at a Raw from the beginning of June, and I still haven't found anything about SmackDown. So I'm giving up.
All right.
Let's move
Next
on.
question.
Yeah, how do you feel about OJ Simpson's brain not being checked for CTE? And do you think he killed Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman?
Jesus, whose questions are these again?
Super Blue. It's Super Blue.
Oh my god, man, he's wilding out this quarter. Um, I don't know. I don't know enough about the case, so I decline to comment. I'm not going to make an ignorant comment just to give some kind of an answer. I'm really not that familiar with it. CTE, brain research is on the rise. I really feel like neuroscience is going to make some incredible strides, especially medically in the next couple decades. And I think CTE is something we need to pay attention to as far as behavioral changes and this and that. I mean, we already know about Benoit infamously. The anniversary was a few days ago. Uh, and really it's always a tricky question of how much do you attribute to any disease versus just regular moral agency, right? Like, do you attribute 30%, 70%, whatever. But I do think it is a factor, right? And I will just put it, I think that's the most honest answer to give. So yeah, I think you should always check for something like that. He was a football player, and we already know from Adam Ruins Everything, bro, like concussions and that kind of brain damage, which unfortunately starts young for people to do like pee-wee leagues and like high school football and all that shit.
Yep.
Like any form of like force that's like just enough and you hit the ground, like those helmets don't protect you enough, you're gonna receive damage. So I can only imagine how much damage OJ received throughout his career. And yeah, again, as far as the verdict, I refuse to comment on that because I don't have enough knowledge on that to make an informed opinion.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to contribute to the sea of inadequate opinions.
Yeah.
So you,
I he said, "How do you feel about OJ Simpson's brain not being checked for CTE?" And I am gonna, as far as the rest of the question about the Nicole Brown Simpson, Ronald Goldman stuff, I am just gonna ditto what you said. I don't know enough either, and ignore that part basically. But the OJ Simpson, the brain not being checked for CTE, I honestly think that if we get to a point where every athlete's brain starts getting checked for CTE, sports are going to experience one hell of a nosedive because it's fucking all of them. It's
yeah,
especially in the NFL, it's literally all of them. All of them are dealing with constant micro concussions during the season and the heavier practices because there are these small collisions every time these players hit each other, run into each other, block each other. Your brain's getting rattled around in your skull, and that is literally causing concussions.
yes,
And they're not the big, like blackout fencing concussions that scare people from a visual standpoint, but a long series of the smaller concussions literally has the same effect as the one big concussion. We know this from fucking boxing. Literally, boxing has taught us from go back to the 80s and you'll hear boxing commentators talking about how if you get hit in the head enough times, even if none of them are super hard, if you get hit in the head enough times, it'll knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, checking for CTE is something that really should be getting done as early as like 12 or 13 years old for athletes, for kids who are in contact sports. And really, maybe not even just that, maybe for all kids, cuz kids trip, kids fall, kids run into things. And like, I mean shit, I had a cousin who was in basketball and softball, and neither one of those are contact sports, and she had so many concussions. I guarantee you, I can think of bare minimum 6 times that I talked to her throughout the course of her life, and she told me that she had a concussion.
Yeah.
So, and that she was literally only 21 years old when she passed. And
Yeah.
so, in that short amount of time, 6 concussions that she knew about, bare minimum, and that's not even including concussions that I didn't know about, that she might have hid, or maybe just concussions that she and her mom knew about that I didn't know about because I just wasn't in the know because that was their business and not mine. And like, we're talking about kids that are playing an actual sport that encourages contact in football. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit, that's terrifying. I like
Yeah.
and then we talk about people like fucking Tony Storm and Rey Mysterio and Rena and Hina and Azumi. Kids, literal kids at 11, 12, 13, 14 years old getting into pro wrestling, falling on their backs on
Yeah.
purpose and jarring their brains around that way. Like, there's a lot of shit that needs to happen, that needs to change, that just won't because money.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you want to know why OJ Simpson's brain wasn't checked for CTE? Because it wasn't financially beneficial to do so.
Exactly. Perfectly said.
Fifth question from Super Blue: Why was or why? Oh, this is a weird one. Why has the U.S. border crossing gotten this bad?
Oh God. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, because you're not. How do I even begin this? Regulating immigration this way with a fucking wall is never gonna fucking work. And what is it? Is it? No, it's not DEA because that's drugs. It's
ICE,
ICE.
ICE.
ICE. Yeah, ICE. Yeah, ICE. That's not gonna work either. If you want to curb immigration, like, see, this is what Ash and I talk about all the time. Everything at bottom is a material fucking problem. You really want to stop immigration, stop bombing other fucking countries. Well, what are we going to do about all the refugees? Maybe stop bombing their homelands. You think they really want to fucking come here? They're coming here because they have nowhere else to fucking go, or maybe they do, depending on where like it is geographically. But then that's also a question because everybody's got like their own like aversion to taking in refugees. We just take in a pitiful amount of them compared to a lot of European countries. So like, stop fucking bombing them. Uh, for the whole class conflict, because like, oh, they come here and they take our jobs. No, they don't. Literally, like, they do the jobs that nobody else wants to fucking do, and they get paid a meager wage for that fucking anyway. If you
Yeah,
really want to
stop
be
getting mad at the immigrant for doing a job for a low wage and start getting mad at the piece of shit who's only willing to pay someone that low of a wage to do the job.
literally, the border is like it's a problem, don't get me wrong, but it's not a problem in the way that you think it is, and the fact that it's ineffectual. It's a problem in the sense that it's a political tool for violence. Like it's violence
Mm,
is what the border is. And if you're really concerned about immigration, qua like I don't want people coming here, then again, stop bombing homelands, start actually being good to other countries and having better relationships with them, improve material conditions here so that people have job security and housing and everything else. This way they don't have to fucking blame the immigrant, which is what they want anyway, because again, that's the vested interest of the ruling class. Like, just to say, why is the border so messed up? I think is such a reductive way to approach the issue, and it's like a non-starter. Because it completely
yeah.
obfuscates to me the deeper actual problems that make the border even exist in the first place as a socio-political concept and as again an instrument for violence primarily. So yeah, that's a lot, but that's like just my starting point right there.
No, no, you fucking nailed it. I'm moving on. Question 6 from Super Blue. Just like Cody, Do you think Trump will win his rematch with Joe Biden?
After the debate I heard about tonight, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm telling you, I doubt. Okay, let me just get ahead of myself here, but I do want to make some qualified remarks here, if I may. If there was ever a time that a third party candidate would have maybe even a right to win, it might be this fucking time. Because apparently at this debate, because you know, Ashton, that I think I'm actually going to know battle watching this. I may change my mind though, so don't hold me to that. But like Twitter, I'm actually grateful for X for the first time in months because it gave an amazing recap. They apparently argued over their golf handicaps at one point, and Trump referred to Black Americans as the blacks several points throughout the debate. So that's great. One person even said Joe Biden looked like he might actually die. They were genuinely afraid Joe Biden wasn't going to make it. And so, yeah, could Trump win his rematch? Potentially. I don't know if 2025 getting a broader like visibility with a lot of the American electorate is going to swing things back to Biden. But recently we saw that Trump outraised Biden in terms of fundraising. But then if you look at other polls, Biden seems to have a slight lead. And this is in like late June. We might as well call it July.
Yep.
And so it's only 4 months away. That's fucking horrifying to me in ways I can't even begin to describe. So is he going to win his rematch? Possibly. Because here's the thing, Joe Biden, the big up that he had on Trump last time was COVID. But Joe Biden kind of shot himself in the foot by prematurely ending data gathering on COVID protections, not really getting behind the idea of a mask or a vaccine mandate, which I will tell you right now, I don't care how it makes me sound. This new wave that we've got of COVID and the research I've read about it, which, by the way, if anybody's curious, I'd probably have to scroll up my Facebook a little too much, but there's literally a hub now dedicated purely to COVID literature, like scientific studies and shit that's constantly being updated. No, I'm 100% for mask and vaccine mandates. I was a bit tentative about vaccine mandates because I'm like, well, but no, like vaccines are a shared health responsibility, not an individual like bioethical kind of thing like abortion say. No, like yeah. And Biden fucked that up. So now I feel like he kind of evened the playing field and literally it's going to be like, do we just want 4 more years of soft fascism or do we just want hard fascism right away? And that is an important distinction, but goddamn if it isn't a depressing one. I really don't know. That debate, I have been seeing people shit on that debate since it started. So literally like all fucking night since it started at 9 p.m. and it's still going. I saw dementia in my personal trends, bro. We are fucked. Like we are fucked. So Super
Oh my
Blue, I'm
god.
sorry, but just to answer your question directly, it's very possible. I'm not gonna say yes or no because I genuinely don't know, but it's not a clear no, and that should be scary enough. He could very easily win this, or he could very easily lose it. But we all lose regardless because it is so fucked. Like and then I was even talking to somebody that is like more liberal and stuff, like loved Obama and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said again, like, I'm tired of gerontocracy. I'm tired of these politics. And he's like, well, they're the only parties we have. And I'm like, yeah, but they're human. Like, I think that's what bothers me the most, regardless of who wins. Do not be gaslit that this is immutable. Do not be gaslit that our government was like ordained by nature because it wasn't. And it isn't. Like, these fucking people, it's an embarrassment. It's a fucking embarrassment. So can he win? Absolutely. I hope he doesn't. But Biden hasn't done himself any favors. Genocide fucking Joe over here. So yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna watch the debate. I don't know if you will, Super Blue. I advise against it to everybody. Read a recap online, read a Twitter thread, do anything else other than watch these people melt live on stage. I don't fucking know. Do you have anything you want to add?
I actually watched the tail end of the debate after you and I got done.
God, how was it?
Dude, here's the funniest thing to me. I've been watching MSNBC's coverage, like post debate coverage, since the debate ended, and they pretty much agree that Joe Biden started really, really bad and got better as the night went on. And I only watched the last 20 or so minutes of the debate, and he looked bad in the last 20 minutes. And apparently, according to MSNBC, those were his best minutes. So I don't even want to know what the fuck he was doing in the first hour and 20 minutes of the debate because he was the stutter was in full effect. We already know Joe Biden has a stutter. He has frequently done debates where you couldn't even tell because he has done a lot of speech therapy to overcome it. It was in full effect for sure tonight. His voice sounded very raspy, and very soft spoken. And I think he just really needed to get closer to the mic because you could barely even hear the guy. He looked fucking exhausted. It was just not, and that's really the main thing is like Joe Biden didn't say, from what I could see, because again, I only watched the last 20 minutes. He didn't say anything egregious. He didn't say anything bad. He didn't say anything offensive. I didn't hear him say anything about Israel or Palestine or Gaza or anything like that. He didn't say anything bad or negative or anything that would make me not vote for him. He just looked weak and fragile and meager.
To put a cherry on top of the immaculate Sunday that you've prepared for all of us, I'm literally looking at a tweet of somebody that embedded a video of CNN talking about how it's time for Joe Biden to step aside. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It is so over. Like that's the thing, because Ashton and I had a very like passionate conversation because he knows if you any of you guys look at my Twitter feed anymore, it's like 90% Gaza, 10% wrestling. And I'd like to flip that ratio, but Gaza's far more important and what's happening in the world is far more important. And like, he knows that I've been like really really against Biden. And we had like this great talk about it. And the one thing I asked him a few times was like, okay, so we vote Biden, he gets in, like then what? Like what do we do? Because I'm tired of just like giving everybody else the power. Like I'd like us to have a bit more self-determination. We should be organizing. We should be deepening our roots and our communities where we are. Like because it's coming. Like even because John Oliver said it perfectly because he actually did a spotlight on Trump 2 weeks ago. He did the UK this week, and that was also great because they've got an election coming July 4th. And after 14 years of rule, the Tories might actually finally be fucking out. Thank Christ. But he said, even if Biden wins, that doesn't stop all these conservative think tanks because Project 2025 becomes Project 2029 or Project 2033. Like they're going to keep coming. Sooner or later, this is going to happen. So what we do in the intervening years has never been more important to me. Because if everybody's just like, oh, well, I can't wait to vote again in 4 years, that is not even close to enough. That doesn't even get us out of the starting gate as far as I'm concerned. It is bad. We are really seeing the empire in decline. And the leftist in me is reveling in it because this is the comeuppance America deserves. But for all the innocent people whose lives are going to be affected by it, my heart breaks because the empire dying always has casualties.
Yeah.
What an embarrassment. I may watch this, I don't know, but the more I see on Twitter, dude, I have never in my life since I've been eligible to vote, I have never seen a debate railed against as much as this one. This was
I mean, dude, here's the thing.
oof.
You know damn well MSNBC is the Democrat platform on TV. Like they are very pro-Democrat, very like vote blue no matter who. And as soon as I pulled their shit up, they were like, that was a bad debate. That was a bad performance. Democrats are panicking right now. Like this is bad. This is a problem. Like Democrats are terrified.
Yeah, dude, you said the DNC was what, July? So like this coming month, right? Because we're almost at July. It's June 28th
No,
today.
that's the RNC. The DNC is
Oh,
in
DNC's
August.
August. Well, they better have serious conversations about platforming this dude because after this shit, fuck. But yeah, I guess we can move on to our next question.
Sure. Our next question is, if you were to meet yourself 10 years ago, how would you explain to your 10 years ago self what's happening in wrestling in the world today in 2024?
Um, lecherous piece of shit out, questionable piece of shit who's doing
I
good
mean, I don't
booking
think that the
in.
point is to try and condense it into as few words as possible. It's just like, what would you tell yourself?
Vince is out. Joshi's amazing. Watch it as soon as possible. And yeah, WWE will get good again. Just be patient.
Yeah.
I guess essentially what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I think I would tell myself Lucha Underground is a promotion that is going to start later this year. Pay attention to it. Sink your claws into it as deep as you possibly fucking can. Cover it as hard as you can. Do as much content on it as you can. Get as wrapped up in it as you can. Enjoy it while it lasts because it only lasts like 6 or 7 years. It only has 4 seasons and then you'll never see it again. So enjoy it while you have it. WWE is going to be a lot of ups and downs. Enjoy NXT while it's really, really good because there will be a time that it won't be anymore and then it'll come back around to being good again eventually. But you're going to want to enjoy it while it's good. Get into New Japan right the fuck now because it's also eventually going to stop being good and it's really, really good right now. Get into Stardom right the fuck now and maybe even keep an eye out for other Joshi promotions because it's really, really good right now. And be on the lookout for AEW because it will be a pretender to the throne.
Yeah, I was gonna say to tack on to my 10 years younger self, like just say no to AEW. What does that even mean? You'll know.
You'll
You'll know.
know. All right. Next up, 1 year later, how sad is it that Jungle Boy is the only pillar left standing after the four-way title match at Double or Nothing 2023? I mean, that's not even
If
really
that.
true because Darby and MJF are both still around. It's just
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara that's not really around anymore. And we even just watched a video recently where he talked about Sammy Guevara has been quietly replaced as a pillar by Will Ospreay.
Oof. Oof. Uh,
I mean, is it really worse? I feel like it's still kind of a clear upgrade,
I
honestly.
mean, facially, it's about the same.
I mean, facially, it's about the same. They're both kind of pieces of shit in their own different ways. But Osprey's taller, bulkier, more athletic, similarly charismatic, which is to say, not at all. Like, what do you say? Like, it's an upgrade in every tangible way.
I mean, really, the victim here is me because we're still talking about AEW in 2024, and that's no bueno. Um, but yeah, fuck Jungle Boy. He was never gonna make it. His dreams were much bigger than he was,
But
and then
he's
again,
the
what
one
is
that
it?
Super Blue's saying is the one pillar left standing.
Yeah, well, if that was true, that'd be sad. Thankfully, it isn't true, and yet somehow still sad.
Yeah,
But
he is.
yeah,
He's just one of the three pillars left standing.
yeah, like I said, look, Jungle Boy never really was a true pillar. All of his dreams were bigger than him, but then again, what wasn't?
All
Um,
right, next
so yeah.
question. How would you rank all the factions of Stardom based on the first half of 2024? I mean, the easiest low shot is QQ at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Saya Kamitani and herself is at the bottom.
I mean, yeah, that's really bad.
Yeah. Stars on top or EXV on top? I'm not sure there.
Thinking EX could be on top only because they have both the world and the artist belts right now,
That's
and
true.
like,
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
point. Who are the goddesses? Oh, FWC. So that's stars.
I put
The
stars behind EXV.
the white belt isn't on a faction member at all anywhere.
I still can't believe Stardom did that. What the fuck?
The high speed is on Kamitani, so she's at least got something.
Yeah,
Um, the SWA title doesn't exist. Mayu has the IW. No, she doesn't anymore. She dropped that, didn't she?
did she?
Did she? Stephanie Vaquer, right? Or no, that's the New Japan Strong.
Yeah,
So is Mayu still the IWGP Women's Champion?
I thought she was. Dude, that title's practically a part of her attire at this point. She ain't never dropping
Okay.
that shit.
So I would say EXV one stars two. I'm very confident about that.
I agree with you completely on that.
At three, it hurts to say, but I
Bro,
kind of
after
want to
almost
say
killing,
Cosmic Angels.
I was even gonna say because Cosmic Angels just lost the white belt. I'd almost say Oedo Tai. They just disbanded QQ more or less, and they're about to challenge for the world title with Natsuko.
That's
And like, yeah,
true. I just hate giving them any credit because Natsuko's such a shitter and they just lost Kid.
yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't want to fight you on it because it really means nothing to me, but like, yeah, I just feel like Oedo Tai's on the come up. But Cosmic Angels might have been on the come up for longer, so if they were three, but Oedo Tai would absolutely be fourth for me. I
You
feel
know what
like
though?
yeah,
If we're grading on the first half of 2024, I do feel like we have to put Cosmic Angels above because Ano held that white belt for the entire first half, other than right now.
that's agreeable. That's agreeable for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll say Cosmic Angels at three. We'll call Oedo tie number four. God's Eye five. And then is there any other faction other than Q or yeah QQ at the bottom?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, QQ has had a really really rough first half because they lost Utami. They've been fracturing at the seams with Kamitani making horrible decisions, and then they literally just lost everyone but Kamitani. So yeah, like QQ, bottom of the barrel, really bad.
Kamitani's spiraling right.
I know she is, and honestly, she earned her own spiral.
She real dude, that's the thing. Like, I don't even mean to laugh to be a dick because you know I like Kamitani. I know from the jump, like you were like that woman's gonna be a star. I have never hated her character more because, like, I think what it is I don't believe it. I don't believe that Kamitani would actually do this, but they wrote her to do this, and I feel like that's why I'm just like, "Okay, okay."
All right. Next question. When was the decision made to close your pro wrestling tees, or did you just sell out of everything and then close it? RIP TWitWoW Shop. So I guess I'll handle this since I was always the one running this in the first place.
Yeah,
First of all, we never had a pro wrestling tees. It was a Teespring. Second of all, Teespring made a bunch of weird moves that I never had to do anything at all. Basically, they said, "Hey, you can either re-up every single one of your T-shirt campaigns, or we're just going to shut them down for you." And I said, "Well, shit. None of them have sold in years, so I can either put a whole bunch of work into literally nothing, or I can just let them close them for me." So I let them close them for me. And I'm thinking, like, if we come up with any other T-shirt designs, maybe I'll put something else up. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no, I just let them close that shit out because I don't see any real reason to keep them up when they weren't selling anything. They haven't sold anything in years. Um, so there you go. Next question. When Vince, Hulk, and Ric Flair leave this world, will you make a special video on them like you did for Bray Wyatt?
no. Um,
We make videos for people we respect.
yeah, and, like, even laughing at them, I like doing that in private and, just having my own private time reveling in their suffering, which I don't really wanna share and commodify for other people, even
Yeah.
for just pure consumption, so
We
I'm good.
we
I'm good.
tend not to go out of our way to platform people who we know are massive pieces of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And like Vince is a known sex trafficker and rapist. Hulk Hogan is a known racist. And Ric Flair is a known sexual assaulter. Why would we want to platform any of them, even in their death?
Exactly.
When they die, I'm going to cheer quietly and move on.
There you go.
Next question from Super Blue. Which of these Uber drivers would you choose? A. Tony Khan. B. Prince Nana. C. Christian Cage. Or D. Sue, Trent Beretta's mother.
It's tied between Tony Khan and Christian. Tony Khan, because I have said that if there was one hard drug that I'd wanna try, it's cocaine, and I know Tony's got the hookup. And Christian, because it would just be amazing to pick his brain and laugh while doing it, so probably Christian. But if it
Nice,
was the end of the world, Tony Khan, for sure.
nice. I'll take Prince Nana just because I love Prince Nana and he's fun and he's the only person in the entire group that I don't feel like I would want to kill myself while they're driving me around.
Yeah, that's fair. That is
Because Tony
fair.
Khan would just be rambling about nonsense like, "Oh man, you really got to watch this match from All Japan in 1994. You're gonna love it."
Yeah.
And then like Christian would just be fucking therapizing me about my daddy issues and no thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sue would probably be playing like 80s glam pop on the radio, and that would fucking kill me. But Prince Nana, yeah, no, we can rock, man. We can roll with Prince
I
Nana
feel like you
for
2
sure.
would vibe. I like
Dude,
that.
I'm telling you, right? Yeah, for sure. Next question: why did WWE do Dijak this dirty?
I wish I had an answer for that, honestly, because that just pisses me off more than it probably should, admittedly,
Dude, I
but
have a theory.
sure.
I think it's a build thing because he's
Really?
he's tall, but he's lean and lanky. And you know who else has had that build historically?
What's that? Who's that?
Wade Barrett and pre-release Drew McIntyre.
Ah, okay.
They both had those tall, lanky builds, and I think just WWE just doesn't like that body type. I think WWE probably looks at Dijak and they're like, you know what? We could really work with you if you'd put about 50 more pounds of muscle on your body.
Yeah. So do we think he, like, goes away and maybe does that and comes back, or do you think he's just
Dude,
AEW
I
now?
really don't think so. I think he is the type, almost like Madden, Dio Madden and Mansoor, and they're all buddies, so they're probably all like similar mindsets. Where he's like, you know what, WWE doesn't want me. Fuck them. I'm gonna go have fun and do my own thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in AEW, honestly. And you know what? Honestly, the one thing that could come of that would be cool is if Keith Lee does manage to get healthy and come back, the matches.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. Yeah.
Dijak and Keith Lee always slap in the ring, whether it's as opponents or partners. Because I'll never forget Team Monstars in PWG.
No, that was dope for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next question: if AEW doesn't turn it around soon, will the 4/10/2024 edition of Dynamite be the day AEW died? This is the episode where they played the all-in footage where Punk tried to assault Jungle Boy and failed.
See, now, because I'm an embittered asshole, I would say that it died a bit before that. I couldn't even give you an exact date when, and it just seemed like airing that footage was a convulsion to try and, like, resuscitate the body. Um,
That was the fucking paddles clear. Fuck.
yeah. But, to people that still believe,
Defibrillator. That's the word. Defibrillator.
yeah, yeah, to people that still believe that AEW had a pulse, I mean, sure. Like, I just
I think
God,
there have been several times to me that AEW has jumped the shark or died, quote unquote, in Super Blue's eyes. I think the biggest one for me would be the Regal heel turn on Moxley to help MJF win the world title. Because to
only for
me,
MJF to turn heel on him,
the next
like
week
2
or
days later.
following, or a couple weeks later or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, but
yeah.
like to me though, that was like the culmination of everything Tony Khan is wrong about. Like,
Yeah.
because it was like, let's let's put this title on MJF by any means necessary. And it started MJF's long title reign, which completely killed ratings because MJF might have been a ratings draw as a chaser, but he sure as hell wasn't a ratings draw as a champion. And it was just a completely nonsensical booking decision when leading up to that there was like promos that made it very clear that it would make no sense for Regal to turn heel, and then he did it anyway. And then Regal just got beat up by MJF anyway, and then left the company to go to NXT because basically he was jumping off a fucking sinking ship.
Yeah.
And then like right after that too, they kind of did this weird thing where they turned Bullet not Bullet Club, Blackpool Combat Club, like they were kind of faces, but then they kind of turned them into cowardly heels soon after that, and that was like
Yeah.
another death blow to the brand. Like it was a really bad time, and like this was just like another death blow. Like there's been so many at this point. It's like the AEW brand might as well be a brand that deals in death blows to themselves.
Yeah, that's so true.
All right, final 15th and final question from Super Blue. If TwitWoW could sponsor a wrestling company, which one would it be?
Monty Gold. I'd love to get in on that. I mean,
My
especially if
answer
we could.
is
Yeah.
Ashe.
Nice. I'm surprised you say that though, because I haven't even heard you check out any of their stuff. Are you
I don't give
wanting
a
to?
fuck, bro. We need a black wrestling company, and they're the only one doing it right now, as far as I know.
Yeah, we
I
should check them
literally,
out
dude, you
though.
gotta realize when all those releases happened in 2021, when it was like Hit Row, Keith Lee, like all these Andrade, like all these releases were happening because it was like Nick Khan and Vince McMahon were downsizing so they could sell. I made posts probably monthly at that point about how somebody needs to make a wrestling promotion, scoop up the vast majority of these free agents, and just fucking rule the world because it was such a talented pool, and it was mostly black and brown men who were part of the releases, and it was also there were a lot of black and brown women in that too. I know like Mia Yim was a part of those releases, and now she's back and doing great. But like she got released. I think Zelina Vega got released. Like it's crazy how much talent they let go. And I was screaming from the top of my lungs like somebody needs to make a promotion that is catering to the black and brown audience that wants to love wrestling, but wrestling has never loved them back.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with you. It's just yeah, like we gotta check out one of their shows or something just to see like the production, everything like that. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
like
I
if
am
we had
curious.
a real money, we would 100% sponsor the shit out of Ashe, or at least I would. I can't say we, I would sponsor the shit
Yeah,
out of Ashe
yeah,
because I
I
love
certainly
Darius
can't blame him for
Lockhart
that.
too, and he's the mind, one of the minds behind it. He's great.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, next question is from Mark. He only had one this week. It was, who in your opinion has Bailey had her best non Sasha Banks matches with? And he gave three options: Asuka, Bianca, or Io. But then he also gave us the D option of somebody else, and please specify if you have someone else in mind.
I think the EO match was really good. I really haven't been paying that much attention to Bailey's reign just because it really hasn't given me anything to sink my teeth into personally. And so yeah, I think I'll just say EO. Her matches with Bianca are good. I kind of was hoping that they'd face off at SummerSlam, but Nia was like, I don't know about that one, Chief. So I'd say Bianca right behind her, and yeah, that's essentially it. What about you,
Yeah,
bud?
I would say Io, but I'm biased.
You have every right to be though. She's super talented.
I also want to just throw a name out there that wasn't mentioned, and that's Becky Lynch.
Yeah,
I feel like Bailey and Becky usually cook when they're in the ring together.
that's true. I can appreciate that.
Maybe that's just my memory though from NXT. It might be a while since their last match together. Anyway,
Yeah.
next two questions are from DBK. He only has two. First up, now that the draft is over, I just want to ask, what is your favorite WWE draft format? And also, what will be the best draft format that fits this era?
Um, I liked when the GMs and we're actually in a place where I like both GMs. I'm more partial to Nick Aldis than Adam Pierce, but I can appreciate the role that Pierce serves. Where they come out on stage, they're on stage for draft segments, and then you do the not a turntable, but like that thing where you have all the balls in the thing and you
Yeah,
kind of crank it and you turn it and then you pick one. That was my favorite because that's what Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman did. And I thought that was really cool. And like obviously you can write on the paper whatever you want, or you can just remember what's supposed to be on the paper and it could just be fucking blank.
a lottery
Um,
drum, by the way, is what it's
a
called.
lottery drum, yeah. That was my favorite type. I know some people liked, I think it was in '06, where it was like the randomizer almost.
Yeah.
That's where John Cena got drafted to SmackDown and then back to Raw in the same night. Um,
The Triple H's reaction.
Yeah, but lottery drum. Yeah, I think it was my personal favorite format. What about you though, bud? How would you like to see a draft go? Especially because you are like, you have a finger on the pulse of the NFL and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I know that they would never do this because of the fact that they don't want to make it feel like either brand is more important than the other. But I would really love it if they would do the current format without the designated pools, without like, oh, this is the list of people that can be drafted on SmackDown, and this is the list of people that can be drafted on Raw. I hate that shit. I
Yeah.
despise like because then it's like, oh, we have 10 first round picks. It's like, no, there's, and it's like also there's like, we have two first overall picks. It's like, no, there's one first overall pick, and it's the person who's picked first. But because you have two separate pools, there's no even argument to be made. Like, yeah, there's two first overall picks, but like, who's the more important one? It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
So I hate that. Like, to me, if you're not going to have everyone be available to pick and the first person picked is the first overall pick, then you don't have the right to call anyone a first overall pick, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like you were the first overall pick in a group that didn't include me in it. So, like, what are you even bragging about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
So either that or like I've always like had this idea. I don't know. Have they ever done this before where they will have the shows and the draft will almost be like unseen completely, and they'll just have like an episode of Raw, and people will start coming out for their matches like a regular episode of Raw, but there will be surprises. Like right now, for example, we have Bailey as the SmackDown Women's Champion, but like if she wasn't a champion and we had a quote unquote draft take place maybe over the weekend, and then next Monday, Bailey shows up. Like, let's say, for example, Io is in the ring for a match, and then Bailey's music hits. Holy shit, Bailey's been drafted to Raw. This is incredible. This is huge news. What's going to happen? What are the dynamics? How is this going to change? And then we get the Bailey versus Io match, which is also just going to be a banger. So like that's a different format that I don't think they've ever done before, where it's like a secret draft and it's like behind the scenes, and you don't actually know the results of the draft until you see them play out on television. I fucking love that
They
idea.
kind they kind of did that in 2005
Did
because
they?
yeah, when John Cena got drafted to Raw, it's not like they did a formal thing. He was announced as Jericho's guest on the highlight reel. When Randy Orton got drafted to SmackDown, he made that known by screwing the Undertaker out of a number one contendership match against JBL with
Yeah,
an RKO. And then
yeah.
he said in a promo after, like, I'm officially on SmackDown. Like,
See,
yeah,
I
they
love that.
kind of did that low key in
Yeah,
2005.
I do
Yeah.
love that. I love that, but the only other one that I can think of that I would really like to see that I don't think that they've ever done before is a situation where you it's kind of similar to like the invasion situation. I don't know if this is actually what happened, but I think this is what like Jim Cornette suggested for his fantasy booking of the invasion, where whichever brand, like you have a brand. Right now, it's basically Survivor Series, but you would have to do it right before the draft. You have a dual brand pay per view where you pit the champions of each brand against each other. So you would have WWE champion versus world champion, US champion versus IC champion, WWE women's champion versus world women's champion, all the way down the card. And if there are any other sort of maybe you do like a 5-on-5 match as well. And the winner of the most matches, the brand that wins the most matches, gets the first overall pick, and they also get the most picks in each round. I think that would be a really cool format too. Anything that makes it really feel integrated into the product and not feel so like jarring and so like, oh well, here's the draft, here are the pools, here's the order, and it's like they're just throwing shit at you rather than having it feel earned in any way. I like it when shit feels earned in my wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my whole thing. And really, I guess my actual answer is, what's the best draft format? None of the ones that they've ever used before. So like if you're making me choose my favorite ever, I would say the one that John just mentioned, where like they didn't actually show a draft and they just had people announce when they've been drafted on the show that they were on.
Yeah.
I would say that one. Second question from DBK. Both rosters are so deep. Do you think now is the perfect time to bring back brand exclusive PLEs?
I've been wanting it, and I just don't think it's ever gonna happen though.
Dude, that's
That's
so
the
funny
problem.
too because he said, "Do you think now is the perfect time?" And I'm like, "Bro, it's been the perfect time the whole time. It was never the perfect time to not do that." It was like, it's you should never. It's brand exclusive pay per views or PLEs never should have gone away in my opinion. Like that's it's to me the having a really hard, well-defined brand split improves the product so much. And part of what goes into that is having the brand exclusive PLEs because then not only do you get these isolated individual stories on each television show that get to then play out on your pay-per-views by themselves without having a bunch of other shit going on, and you don't have to worry about bringing both commentating crews to every pay-per-view and shit. But then when you actually do get to the big four and you have everyone from both rosters there, it feels like such a bigger deal.
Definitely. Definitely.
And to me, I would even say that you could even have a big five right now with Money in the Bank included. I would say you have a big five instead of a big four. You have your Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think,
agreeable to me.
and
Yeah.
again, I've been preaching this for years now. Survivor Series should determine something about the Royal Rumble because Survivor Series is only 2 months before the Royal Rumble. They just had King and Queen of the Ring determine something about SummerSlam 2.5 months before it happens. I think Survivor Series should have an effect on the Royal Rumble.
And I've agreed with you that ever since you've been vocalizing it for sure.
And I think it would be a really cool idea to have the winning Survivor Series team be allowed to pick what number they want to be in the Royal Rumble. And if multiple people on that team all want to pick the same number, you've got free storylines to write and matches to put on TV. Because it's like, oh, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens normally get along, but they both want to be number 30 in the Royal Rumble. Now they have to wrestle over it. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that.
I think that'd be really cool. Yeah,
It's
I think that'd be
such an
really cool.
easy storytelling device. And they're like, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
100%.
next set of questions is a big one, 13, I believe, or 12 from Hazard. Hazardous something, Gillis.
All right.
And first up, he said, you might have seen this coming. What are your thoughts about X-Men 97? Favorite scenes slash characters, all that
Oh
jazz. You're
my
free to talk about the
god.
show.
Yes. Oh my god. I fucking adore X-Men 97. I'll tell you, I'm just gonna go on a bit of a side tangent here. Fight for animators, people, because apparently I don't even know if it's already happened, but they're getting ready for some kind of deal or some kind of fight where I think a contract that they had is like terms are coming up and they need to renegotiate. Animators already get paid like shit. And like it's amazing that they get paid a fucking pittance and you still see masterpieces all the time if you just know where to look. And this show is 1000% a masterpiece. It is so much better than the original X-Men cartoon, which I don't think is the worst thing I've ever seen by far, but Ash and I tried rewatching it. It really hasn't aged that well. I'd say, oddly enough, again, the animation is one of the best things about it, and that's certainly fucking true here. It is a gorgeous looking show. I will say too, for a hero action type show, oh my god, the way the fight scenes are animated. And I love too how you would see like a lot of symbiotic, like kind of double team attacks. Like I remember the scene where Gambit kind of charges up Wolverine's claws before he takes out the Sentinel. Like stuff like that. There was so much of that this season. I love the writing. I know there were some people that were like, I don't like the soap opera stuff, but if anybody like really knows me beyond like my personas and stuff that I put on here, I am a fucking softy at heart. I love that soap opera shit. Always have, always probably will. I mean, you're talking to a guy that I grew up on Lifetime movies and shit. So when I'm seeing Rogue, kind of between Magnus and Gambit and all this stuff and just fucking everything. Magneto, oh my god, Magneto, such an amazing characterization of him, and I love that they don't like position him as he actually is to vilify him. They position him as he actually is, and people actually are sympathetic to him. You even have like a politician be like, the one thing you learn is Magneto was right. Like they straight up say it. Magneto was right. Um, I will even say Charles Xavier, who's like the stand-in for fucking liberalism, like he is trash in a lot of ways, but I actually prefer him to his old animated series counterpart. I thought he came off a bit better too. Jean was great. The Goblin Witch, the clone of Jean. Oh my god, that episode she gets where she's in that costume. I mean, I was fanning myself. I can be big enough to admit that. Like, good lord, the sub in me was like, mother. Um, Fucking Storm kicked ass. Even Jubilee, I thought got characterization that was a step up. I forget the name of the new guy that was like her boyfriend. I think it began with like an R, like Rodrigo or something. Maybe I'm way off base. I don't fucking know, but he was okay. I would like a bit more characterization for him. That was probably the weakest point of the season. But God, the Genosha episode where everything goes tits up, the episode of the series to me. Like, oh my God, that was so fucking good. And the finale was strong too, for God's sakes. But that episode, and I'll say too, if you're just a fan aesthetically of like really good animation, which I've definitely become as I've gotten older, and especially if you're 420 friendly,
Forge,
popping
by
out
the
a
way.
say that again.
Forge was Storm's new man.
But who was Jubilees? That was who I was. That was who I was saying was the weaker part of the season for me because I actually liked Forge.
Oh,
Was it like Ricky or Rodrigo? I feel like it began with an R, and
Roberto.
that's what
Roberto.
Roberto. See, okay, so it did begin with an R. I wasn't that far off. Roberto. Yeah, Roberto was okay. I'm not saying he was a terrible character. I need more, and it was like a bit weak. But yeah, if you're a fan of like how animation looks, and if you're 420 friendly like myself, pop an edible during one of these episodes. You will not regret it. This is some of the trippiest fucking animation you'll see in some scenes, and honestly, you'll just be awash in it, and it'll be like, oh my god, this is where I fucking park my car. Like, I haven't been this psyched about seeing animation, like just from a quality standpoint, artistically, since like Tartakovsky, because I love Tartakovsky stuff. And me, Ash, and his mom, we actually just rewatched Primal season 1. We're gonna hopefully maybe get into a little bit of Primal season 2 tonight, but I doubt it because we have a lot of boys YouTube content. But we'll be getting to season 2 soon enough. But yeah, not since Tartakovsky have I been this excited about animation just from a quality standpoint. It is fucking gorgeous to look at. I think I've ranted and raved enough positively about this. I just wanted to jump on this because a lot of these questions, with politics and wrestling that I'm kind of checked out about, I'm like, meh. No, I came to life for this because I am so happy that Ash and I watched this together. There was a split second where we may not have because we were so down on the original animated series. We're like, do we even want to watch this? And I think we both agreed, like, okay, well, let's give it a chance. And I am so happy we did.
Yeah.
Um, just fantastic. But anyway, anything you want to add, sir? Because we did watch this together. What did you think?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing. I loved the animation. It looks gorgeous. It's written really well. I don't really have anything to complain about other than the weird ass fucking rogue Magneto relationship, which I know is out of the comic books, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. I'm not a fan. So, second question is from Hazard to you, John.
Okay.
Which philosopher or philosophers do you think would have appreciated the themes of X-Men 97 and why?
Oh God. literally any philosopher that's like remotely to the left. I feel like I'm reading a lot of decolonization theory right now, particularly Walter Rodney, who was an African Marxist. I want to get on to Frantz Fanon, who I've read Black Skin, White Masks, which I am fucking telling you, if you care about race, if you care about decolonization, if you care about like understanding white supremacy and how it can even affect black people negatively, read Black Skin, White Masks. One of the best fucking books I've ever read. So Frantz Fanon, I think, would have loved it. I think Deleuze and Spinoza, which is a bit of like an older, like modern philosopher, would have loved it. Foucault, probably, maybe. Is kind of iffy there. Marx for sure. Like Jesus fucking Christ. That's fucking obvious. I feel like even Kant probably would have enjoyed it, and he's definitely like the liberal philosopher par excellence. But liberalism is a complicated tradition. You know, not all liberals were garbage, believe it or not. There were some liberals that even had some anarchist tendencies. It's a very complicated political tradition, and you know, Marxism is kind of an offshoot of that, and then it just completely severed itself from it. So I don't want to completely throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's just what we know as neoliberalism and 21st century liberalism. Yeah, that shit's garbage. That is straight garbo. But yeah, that's just a handful of philosophers that I think would have appreciated the themes of X-Men 7. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, of course. Hell, but you know what though? Just to be fair to Martin Luther King, because everybody always said like, "Oh, Xavier was a stand-in for him." I'm not so sure about that one, Chief. Because like Martin Luther King was anti-imperialist and anti-capitalist, whereas Charles is like, "Listen, we just need to be good to the humans, and the humans will be good to us," kind of thing. And I don't really think Martin was ever really about that. You know, he was like, "Look, I don't think violence does anything for us long term. And I think we can all like understand each other and work together because like race isn't the basis of like division. I really do believe that Martin Luther King, again, because he was anti-capitalist, believed that the only war was class war. And that's probably why he wanted to unite with people, because he's like, look, racially based violence isn't going to do anything. Let's go after the corporations. And like he even said, like a riot is the language of the unheard. I don't think Martin Luther King would give a fuck if he saw things burning that probably should be burned. It was only innocent people dying on either side that he had a problem with, which I don't blame him for. So yeah, I feel like he would appreciate it too, but I feel like he would have even given Xavier the side eye because he would have been like, "You sure about that, my guy?" So yeah, I think a lot of thinkers throughout history and a lot of activists throughout history would have really appreciated the themes of this for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, next question.
This one's for both of us. Is the debut of the Wyatt Six in itself a perfect tribute to Bray? I don't know about you, but I personally couldn't watch that without tears in my eyes.
I definitely welled up. I don't think I full on cried, but I definitely hit. And I feel like the follow up was fantastic. Bo should be immensely proud of himself. I
Yeah.
still think it's interesting territory that they're in, but I will say you get right out of the gate of a lot of the potentially problematic stuff when you ask straight up, how did you feel when your brother died? And you face it head fucking on. Because not only does it seem then like a tribute to Bray, but it feels less exploitative and more like a consequence of him dying. Like, we're not trying to exploit, we are trying to deal with this. And I do think there is a significant difference there. So, yeah, nothing but
Yeah.
thumbs up for Wyatt Six.
Yeah, for me the actual debut didn't draw any emotion from me other than like excitement because it was cool.
Yeah,
But that interview had me well enough for sure.
yeah, yeah,
I would like, dude, I when we cut from Uncle Howdy to Bo and we actually got to see Bo and his face, my jaw dropped and it never came back up for the entire rest of that interview. My jaw was on the ground the entire time.
yeah. It was fucking powerful, bro.
Yeah. Next up, which wrestler slash character of this faction do you wish to be flushed out the most?
Uh, just because I like him, Loomis.
Yeah, I
Loomis's
mean, yeah,
character.
that's like we
Yeah.
pretty much both like Loomis as a wrestler the most, so we're both gonna want to say the Buzzard.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the Buzzard. Do you remember the
Mercy the
Buzzard's name?
Buzzard.
Mercy the Buzzard. Thank you. But realistically, Bo. I mean, Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas is a really good answer too, because at the end of the day, it's his faction. He was his brother, and this
Yeah.
first segment with him, actually exposing his face, not trying to hide it, being willing to talk openly about how he feels, how he felt about his brother, his aspirations when his brother was still alive, how he felt about his brother's death, all of that, like that, that's heavy shit, man. That's not easy to talk about in private, much less in front of an audience of almost 2 million people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I would actually, even though I like Loomis as a performer the most out of everyone involved in this, I would still put Bo at the top just because of that first segment alone. That was so jarring to me in a good way.
Yes, yes, yes.
So then the next question, do you think Taylor Rotunda will carry this gimmick slash storyline to this full potential? I mean, I feel like I'd like to see what he can do. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm hoping he can.
Yeah, he hasn't given me reason to doubt him so far, and I'll put it that way. You know, you have to go week by week with television, and so far he hasn't given me a reason to be concerned. If anything, he's knocked it out of the park, and he's emboldened my confidence in him. So let's see how long he can keep it.
It's funny because the next question is literally, did the Uncle Howdy slash Bo Dallas segment hype you more than you were before, or are you on the fence? And I think I've already answered that question.
No, I'm hyped. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
move right on because I'm hyped.
Continue. Did Bo Dallas appearing as so soon and talking about it, talking about such a personal matter and storyline surprise you?
Yes, but in a good way. I feel like it was actually the smart move for them to get ahead of it right away because if you would have dragged this out, I guarantee you would have had a crowd of people be like, this is exploitative. But I feel like the way they handled it, like, yes, because now I can understand it as Bo feels like he needs to do this, not even like just for Brave, but for both of them. And like this kind of, I don't want to say a warped sense of healing, but it is Uncle Howdy. So maybe we could even say a warped sense of healing. Like, yeah, this doesn't feel, this feels so far away from like the Ray Eddie Guerrero stuff from years ago.
Yeah.
Like this really just feels like an offshoot of a tragedy, but that's not exploiting said tragedy, but
Yeah.
like directly confronting it and dealing with it. So I think it was a smart play, 100%.
Next, I am a fan of Damian Priest, and I feel like his title reign is better than expected. Would you agree that he deserves to remain champion at least until the end of 2024? I'm just going to get in front of this and say, if it was anyone other than Gunther, I would agree for sure. But it's Gunther, and that title reign ends at SummerSlam, as far as I'm concerned.
Copy paste. Let's move on.
All right, next up, I completely agree that Punk is a heel, despite what WWE's trying to convey. That's the thought I had when he tripped Drew at WrestleMania. Does the feud need a double turn?
Need no, because I think need is a very interesting word that we have to be careful to use. Would it be interesting and would it be welcomed from me? Absolutely. Because honestly, I think Punk, especially at this stage of his career, and I'm trying to be objective and amicable, even though I just want to get out in front and say I really don't like CM Punk. I wish he wasn't fucking here. But if you're going to use him, I think at this stage of his career, with everything that he's got against him and for him, both in kayfabe and outside, we know wrestling these days likes to use everything. I mean, again, we just laughed at AEW releasing the all-in footage. He needs to be a heel. He needs to be that heel that just wants to make money. He needs to be like a Kevin Nash heel that can work maybe slightly better, although that's starting to be in doubt for me a little bit. And just care about making money, not care about anybody else. And Drew can just be like, you know what? I told all of you, but I'm not going to crow about it. I'm going to deal with it. And like that, that's the fucking thing. So I would definitely welcome a double turn here, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I think to me, the big difference between Punk right now and Nash, even late Nash, even like 2011 Summer of Punk Nash, even like OMG Kevin Nash, WTF thought he was dead, LOL Nash, was more compelling in the ring than Punk right now because Nash's in ring was never predicated on him being athletic.
Yeah.
Like that's the secret. Kevin Nash in the ring was compelling without him needing to be athletic because of storytelling, because of psychology, because he was big and he used his size to his advantage in terms of leveraging his size to not have to do athletic stuff. He had like 5 moves and that's all he needed because he was still able to put together compelling matches with those 5 moves and make it work and get people into his matches and get the crowd invested. And CM Punk could never.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my whole thing is like CM Punk, his body is falling apart and he's trying to do the shit that he did in his 30s and he just can't anymore. Like he failed miserably at trying to replicate Hangman's uh dead, what is it? What's the lariat called again?
Buckshot Lariat.
Buckshot. There you go. I wanted to call it Deadeye. That's his pile driver. He, I mean, fuck, man. He failed miserably at doing his own Pepsi plunge to Samoa Joe. Like, Punk's body is just not 25 or 30 years old anymore, and he can't be doing this shit anymore. And when you take away CM Punk having like indie darling in ring skills, all that's left is his talking. And it's like he's a guy who could talk, but then as soon as the bell rings, people are going to lose interest because he's not compelling in the ring anymore.
Oh, like I'm just being straight sincere with all of you.
Before you
I,
talk, I want to say one more thing because
of
this is
course, of course,
hilarious to me.
of course.
CM Punk has become Enzo Amore.
Yeah. But to me, like, it's even hard to get excited for the in-ring aspect of the feud because I'm just afraid that Punk's gonna get injured again the moment the bell rings. Like, I now that's a bit
Yeah.
hyperbolic when I say the moment the bell rings, but you guys get what
Well,
I mean.
no, but you're
Like,
right though. The moment the bell rings, those alarms are going to be going off in your head. Like, okay, let's we're going to be like on our toes, on the edge of our seats. Like, when's he going to get hurt? When's he going to get hurt? When's he going to get hurt? And it's not necessarily going to happen at the beginning of the match, like you said. It's not going to be when the bell rings, but when the bell does ring, we're going to be on high alert, waiting for it to happen.
like every bump he takes, I'm just waiting for like
Him
Fightful
to
or
come up
like some
limp,
wrestling news, yeah, like to come out
or
and be
for the
like, "Oh,
ref to
Punk's
go
for
over
this."
to him and then call the match off.
Exactly. Like, if they wanted to play this smart, like maybe have Punk be cheeky and get like not necessarily a squash but a quick win, and then the follow-up matchup, Drew just squashes him, and then maybe the third match you give time. But even then, I'd be so tentative. Like, why are we giving this dude money? Fuck me, Jesus Christ.
I think
Uh,
like at a certain point, you almost would be better off transitioning Punk into like a managerial role. Like I feel like
Definitely,
it's
yeah.
wild because like do you know how old Macho Man was in the early 90s when Vince tried to transition him into a commentary role and it pissed Macho off so much that he said, "Fuck you, I'm going to go to WCW and wrestle."
Mid-30s.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, no, actually no. You know what? That's disingenuous. He was around 40.
Okay, so late 30s, just shy of 40.
Late 30s, early 40s. Punk's
Yeah,
like 46.
Jesus Christ, dude. And not a good 46 either, like you're seeing with some competitors
He's
today. No,
45. I just Googled it. He's 45. He'll be 46 in October.
like that body is beat to shit.
That's 1997 Randy Savage. No, that's 98. That's 98 Randy Savage. Because, Punk's turning 46 in October. Savage turned 46 in November of 98. Of 98. So this is
Yeah,
1998 Randy Savage we're talking about. And like Vince was trying to transition him away from the ring years before then. And Savage was more athletic in his prime than Punk could ever fucking hope to be.
yeah, yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. Uh,
Savage left WWF for WCW in December of 94. So he would have been 42 at that point.
right,
And he was still working pretty regular matches. He joined the NWO at 44 and he effectively retired at 46. So like it would be like if Punk was a year away from retirement right now.
yeah,
And then Savage had one last run in TNA in his early 50s, but like that was very clearly not something that anyone would expect or that anyone should have done kind of thing. But like
right.
yeah, it's just Punk needs to really like I said, I think Punk would never, but like people need to start getting into Punk's ear like, listen, man, if he injures himself again, I shouldn't say right now, but like how much of his AEW contract was spent on the injury reserve list on the sidelines, not making
Dude,
them money?
I know. It felt like so much of it.
And then he comes
Like,
to WWE and with it, because like, dude, remember his first appearance in WWE was, I believe, Survivor Series because he showed up after War Games. So that was the end of November. He was there for 2 months and then he got injured.
yeah,
And now he has been injured. It's 5 months now because it's been since January, and he still hasn't wrestled since then, since the end of January. So he, again, in WWE has spent more time injured than not. So he
Yeah.
spent more time. I mean, here's the thing: he is still making them money because of the merch, and I'm sure that applied in AEW too. But like, he's not selling tickets. He's not moving ratings because he's not being announced and advertised for TV shows. So like, he is only making them a fraction of the money that he could be because he's spending time on the injured reserve list because he's old and frail, like Joe Biden.
Yeah. 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 Bro, there was a point when during Kevin Nash's TNA run where he did this tag match and he like intimated that he was gonna do a dive and he looked like he was about to commit and then he stopped just short and he gave everybody like a look like get the fuck out of here. And I wish Punk would do that because at least that would be endearing. But he's
See,
just
and that's my
crotchety
thing
and
too. Is
old.
like Punk to me could be an effective heel right now because heels don't have to do impressive shit in the ring to stay over as heels.
No, not at all.
That's honestly that makes it that much more mind blowing though that Sting had the run that he just did in AEW, jumping off of shit, going through tables at like 65. That's
Yeah.
fucking nuts. Like
Yeah.
we even talked about it the other day. Paul Heyman is younger than Sting.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck was he like on? Like how many different types of drugs? Like was Sting more some kind of like artificial filling at that point than he was human body because that's absurd.
He was on that Tony Montana shit, man. He either like bumped a few lines with Khan and was like, "I'm the Stinger, let's fucking go," or like, yeah, he's more
They just
like,
pumped him full of painkillers and said, "Get on out there, Steve."
"Yeah, I got one more in me."
Holy shit.
Aging is fucked. Jesus Christ. All right.
Sting should run for president.
Oh God. Well, we've already heard Hulk Hogan might run for president.
Oh god, and The Rock too.
I'm gonna drop the leg on the national debt, brother.
Can you
Oh my.
imagine 2028 Hulk Hogan versus The Rock?
Oh God. Just let
Dwayne's
me
like,
die.
listen, Hulkster, listen, Terry, you old son of a bitch. I beat you at WrestleMania 18. I'm gonna beat you again this year.
Only because we apparently had a shitter of a debate tonight. I want somebody I want somebody to debate Hulk Hogan and make really salient points, and then he starts hulking up at the podium, and then he points at them.
I see the visual. You. He wags his finger.
Sent tax dollars to Russian oligarchs or something like that. I don't fucking know. But like, yeah, just if we're gonna meme, let's do it all the way. Like, just feed it to me. Fuck.
Unironically, I genuinely, unironically believe that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, would be a better president than either of the men that debated tonight.
I have to agree. There's no Brahma bull in that. Okay, I'm dead inside. Let's move on.
If you had to attend a 3-hour conference about AEW, and then he even has in parentheses, I know it sounds painful, what subject could actually interest you?
Um, the women's division.
I
Literally, like,
knew you
and
were going to
like,
say that. Yep.
yeah, anything you're gonna do with the women's division, anything you're not gonna do, so I can be angry about it and tell it to your face. Just yeah, women's division for sure. Because that's the only thing I could even remotely care about. God, I miss Jamie Hayter. And
Dude,
I say that
I
though.
just saw a thing tonight about Britt Baker coming back soon, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Where's Jamie?
Yeah, maybe Jamie just quietly was like, AEW isn't for me. I quit. And then I'm like,
Oh.
good for you, Queen. Good for you. But I don't know. But you know what though? I say that, and I'll be the first one to call out my hypocrisy because I guarantee you, she'll come back. I still won't watch. Like, that's the funny thing about AEW. I have such an aversion to it that even people that I know that I like, you know what I was thinking the other day, dude? I know this is so far afield from Super Blue's question, but again, just to reiterate, women 3-hour seminar, let's fucking do it. But like, remember when Adam Cole was entertaining? Remember when I fucking loved Adam Cole every week we would go
Dude, I
down and
was
talk
just
about it?
talking to someone the other day about that because, like, this is somebody who I have a very casual, like, not even necessarily friendship with, but more just like association with because we
Yeah.
both have a few things in common. Like we're both NFL draft fans, and we both like wrestling. And like they know that I am like rabidly against generic white men in wrestling. But they
Yeah.
found out that I was an Adam Cole fan, and they were so confused. And they were like, "Wait, but I thought you didn't like short generic white men in wrestling." And I was like, "It was a different time. Go back and watch the Undisputed Era in NXT. They were the shit."
Yeah, no, they were. Like, I really can't believe, and really I do have to, like, by and large blame Vince for this, because I really can't believe that Adam Cole, particularly black and gold Adam Cole, Undisputed Era Adam Cole, was looking like a certified Mania main eventer, argue with the wall. I really don't want to hear from anybody else. And like Vince was like, why not be a manager? And then Adam Cole, because of his pride, and I can't even blame him for this, was like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna go to AEW, only for AEW to be like, hey Adam, yeah, and then for him to get hurt, and then that didn't help either. It just like, what a fucking train wreck of what could have been. Hell, even Kyle O'Reilly, like I know he's finally back, but like Kyle O'Reilly, look at the fucking memeable moments he had in the next year. Remember when he broke up that one pin in a tag match, and he had that face that was like went viral, I think that very night because it was like, what's happening? And like, and then the fucking promos he had were like when Pete Dunne was like, who are you to talk? You haven't done anything since you've been here. And Kyle in the background is like, how dare you? Like, they were all
Dude, I
iconic.
remember when he tried to fire up the one time and then passed out of the ropes.
Yes. Like, they had personality. They were cool. They were charismatic. They were the closest thing you'd get to like a kid-friendly version in the best way of NWO. Like honestly,
Yes.
like they were so cool, but they didn't need to like be
Even the
rude or whatever.
NWO though, even the NWO fucking appropriated their coolness too. Like literally the
Yeah.
NWO was literally just fucking West Coast black culture appropriated by three white guys.
Yep. Yep. That's how it goes. Um,
It's like
and
let's
yeah,
take fucking Tupac, fucking NWA, and little Jimi Hendrix music and combine them, but give them to three white guys and see how that works. And it's like, oh yeah, well yeah, no shit, it's gonna fucking pop people. It's cool.
yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ. That just makes me hate white supremacy even more though, because it's like, wow, you can't even let black people have their culture and like own that it was them,
No.
and maybe like lift them up because of that.
And then
No,
and
let's
then let's take
yeah.
another fucking 5 years to put a goddamn world title on Booker T too while we're at it.
Throw the whole goddamn thing away. So yeah, what would you want the conference to be on? Because I'm not suffering alone. So are you gonna just join me on women and we just watch the conference together and just take notes?
Um,
Or
I would want. Let's see. I mean, you said a conference. Can we have a debate at a conference?
I don't I don't think so, but then again, I don't think it's like unprecedented.
Because
So
like
like
I
maybe.
feel like a conference. When I think of a conference, I think of like several people sitting behind a desk with microphones talking about something. And
Yes.
like I feel like if I make the conference about a very controversial topic, it could lead to the people arguing with each other, leading to a sort of debate, right?
Right, right, right.
Okay, so I want Will Osprey, Christian Cage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going. Adam Copeland, Brian Danielson, MJF, Swerve. I'm still racking my brain for more names.
Yeah.
John Moxley, and I'm going to come up with one more, and Hangman Page. I want those 8 dudes, and the topic is about psychology and selling in pro wrestling.
Oh, nice. I like that idea. I really like that idea, actually.
Yeah, I would watch that conference because I just really, really want the old heads and the actual pros to put MJF and Osprey in their fucking place.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, next up, uh, and Hangman to a degree too, because I feel like Hangman has a reputation for not wanting advice from anyone, and he would have to sit there and take it.
Yeah.
So next question from Hazard: I don't have time to watch Stardom or Muddy Gold. What is your opinion on them currently? Which do you prefer? Is Stardom still good? And what are the pros and cons of both?
Oh God.
So
I'm in a very
let's just start at the baseline. What is your opinion on Stardom and Muddy Gold currently?
I'm in a weird place with Stardom because I'm starting to get a bit jaded, to be honest. I don't like being locked out. I don't like not having things subtitled when, again, I have said repeatedly, even when Stardom was at its peak, I have made it clear that to me, the interpersonal relationships drive Stardom for me. I love the dynamics both within factions and factions against each other, and stuff like that. Like Kamitani and Utami before Utami left was the relationship that I was really looking at after Stardom and Sunshine, the cage match they had with Oedo Tai, where Utami was helping other members get out, and then Kamitani helped Utami escape the cage last. And then the whole apology promo and stuff like that, which made me cry. Why? Because I understood it. Why? Because it was subtitled. So locking out the interpersonal relationships, like I'm at a point now where wrestling really is just a quintessential hobby to me. Like I have other things that I really care about and I want to do with my life. And if I can't enjoy wrestling like at the utmost, I'm gonna feel a certain way about it. And Stardom has really good wrestlers and they have great personalities and stuff like that. And I guarantee you the interpersonal relationships are probably still compelling if you're a Japanese speaker and you can understand it. But this inaccessibility, like I don't know. In the words of the Michael Jordan meme, I took that personally. So I'm really like kind of jaded with Stardom right now. Marigold though, I love. And the thing is, like, I'm still giving Marigold time to hopefully subtitle their stuff in the future. I don't know if they will. I'd say, I'll give them a year and I'll see where they're at. And if they haven't fixed that in a year, I'll kind of feel the same way. Although Motor Gold's able to get away with a lot more because their shows are economical, which I like. Their player Wrestle Universe, and this is more of a Wrestle Universe thing, but God, it's so much better than the fucking Stardom World player. Like how
Yeah.
Bushiroad doesn't understand what fucking year we live in, really pisses me off. It has Utami, which you're gonna get away with a lot when you have Utami. Loving Mikuano, loving Shozuki and me. So it's like again, it's got a roster that because they're so new to me, with like more of familiar faces, which I'm absolutely infatuated with, you're gonna have a longer leash, but I'm still keeping an eye on them. Like Joshi wrestling, there is a craving for it. There is a hunger for it from international audiences, and not even just English, by the way. We need, and this goes to a more general problem too, since I'm on this subject and I'm already gassed up. We need to be funding translation like so much. Like, because I've been seeing that translators don't get a lot of good money either. And that's a fucking shame because whether you're looking at it from a scholarly standpoint or just an entertainment standpoint, like, we need either a universal language or we need all languages to be accessible. And I feel like the latter option is both more attractive and more feasible anyway. The idea that we're not doing that, like, just really disappoints me. Like how YouTube's auto captioning system is still fucking garbage. If you
Yeah, it
really want
is.
good translations, you got to do it yourself, which is a shame because I will say one thing, even about TWitWoW, that I can admit. I wish there was an easier way for us to caption our videos because I don't want any deaf wrestling fans that may feel like, oh, does TWitWoW like not care about me? Yes, we do. There's just accessible technology is a bitch to find. It really is. It's frustrating. I have a lot of frustrations. But Stardom's still great from the in-ring front. I think I anticipate Monty Gold more these days now, and just in a general accessibility front. Even just right down to the player, Marty Gold's got them beat. And if they could subtitle their stuff, they are running away with it and Stardom is just lagging behind to the point where I'm running out of patience. So that's my initial impressions. Marty Gold's on the come up. I still like Stardom, but I can tell where it's starting to depreciate for me. Hell, Javaris even said today he's really thinking about even quitting Stardom, which, if he wants to take his money elsewhere, I don't blame him. I'm more curious how you feel, though, man, because we haven't actually talked about our feelings about Stardom like openly in a while.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling with things?
I think you're going to be surprised here because I am in a very similar place to you and maybe even a little more extreme than you.
Oh,
Or
interesting.
really, I shouldn't even say more extreme, maybe even a little more negative on both fronts than you actually.
On
Um,
both fronts. Okay, and
yeah.
okay.
So with Stardom, I fully agree with you on basically everything negative that you had to say about Stardom. That they are um, you know, basically intentionally shafting their Western audience because they no longer have Sunny. Sunny was Western appeal in Stardom. Sunny literally did everything. He would upload the videos to Stardom World. He would subtitle them. He ran the English Stardom account on Twitter. He was everything to them, and he is now in Muddy Gold, right? So that
Yeah.
is a huge blow to Western Stardom fans because of how important he was to their entire infrastructure on that front, right?
Yes.
Now, On one positive side, I think that the new person that they got to run the English Twitter account is way better than Sunny. Way better, way more personable, way nicer, does a better job of actually hyping up stuff that happens on their shows, posting GIFs that people want to see. Basically, I just think that's a huge upgrade on that front. But now they don't subtitle their shows anymore, and that is the biggest possible downgrade imaginable. Because here's the thing, the whole reason that Stardom has been made relevant in the West in the first place is because of subtitled promos. And to take it a step further, it's specifically because of subtitled pre-match promos, which we haven't had pre-match promos now in years, since before COVID even, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there were so many viral moments in those pre-match promos that got posted on social media and picked up so much steam that got interest in Stardom. And that right there is a huge reason why people in the West know what Stardom is at all. Because there were, and a lot of it was Chris Wolf, a lot of it was Hana Kimura and just her physical attractiveness, her being absolutely stunning attractively, physically. A lot of it was Azumi talking shit. But in general, the Western audience isn't going to know about anything. They could have had several viral moments over the course of the last 6 months, and we wouldn't fucking know it because they weren't subtitled and they didn't have an opportunity to go viral in the West at all. So they've been missing out on those opportunities probably several times over the course of the last 6 months and however long it's been since they last subtitled a promo. So that is the biggest possible blow to their business in the West, because why would anyone who doesn't know about Stardom decide to watch Stardom out of the blue without being recommended it by anyone? Basically, if you're not recommended Stardom by a diehard Stardom fan like one of us, why would you ever check it out?
Yeah.
And now here is the big problem that I have too. This is something that you didn't bring up that terrifies me. That A, pisses me off, B, scares the shit out of me, and C, legitimately makes me feel like we might not be watching Stardom in a few years' time.
And that is?
Their relationship with AEW.
Yes. Yes.
Because not only now are we seeing Nina show up on AEW every week leading up to Forbidden Door, and I get it, it's Forbidden Door, it's a one-time thing, whatever. But Stardom's Twitter, their English Twitter specifically, I haven't looked on the Japanese one, but their English Twitter specifically is actively promoting AEW shows. They're actively promoting Forbidden Door. They're actively promoting Dynamite. They're actively promoting Collision. And sure, it's because there's Stardom talent on those shows, but where's the line get drawn? When does
Yeah.
it just become Stardom promotes AEW, AEW uses Stardom talent? When does AEW poach its first Stardom talent?
Yeah. I've wondered that too.
And to
Yeah.
take it a step further, the booking of the QQ Oedo Tai stuff in general feels like a bad combination of Vince McMahon and Tony Khan's worst traits to me.
Yeah, that was horrible. They did Kamitani so bad there as a character.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
here's my thing. Vince McMahon, when he took over NXT, basically when Triple H failed to consistently beat AEW in the ratings, Vince McMahon said, "All right, pal, you're out of here. You failed your job, so it's my turn." And he cleaned fucking house. He fired the heart and soul of NXT and got rid of a vast majority of the people who had made NXT special at that time so that he could bring in a whole new group of recruits and build up the next generation under NXT 2.0. And now, don't get me wrong, some of those bets paid off. Bringing in a lot of those people paid off. Bringing in Braun Breaker paid off for sure. Anyone
Yeah.
could see that dude was going to be a star, but you didn't need to fire so many of Triple H's people in order to do that. You didn't need to A, leave so many people jobless, and B, quote unquote, clean out the locker room in order to basically hit the reset button and start pushing a new crop of talent. You didn't, if anything, it would have been easier if you didn't do that, because then you would have had an entire generation of people to put over the next generation that you want to get over.
Yes.
But because I'm bringing this up because it feels to me, now this is purely speculation on my part. I do not want to try and pretend that I know this for a fact or that I saw this reported. I did not, and I do not. This is how I feel. This is my judgment on the situation. This is my speculation. It feels to me like Bushiroad wants to do something similar with Rossi. They want to wipe him from history books, similarly to how Vince McMahon wiped Benoit from history books. I think that Bushiroad wants to take anything that was an original Rossi creation and wipe it clean. And QQ was an original Rossi creation.
Yeah.
And arguably the most dear thing to Rossi. And he's gone, and he took Utami with him. So they said, you know what? Fuck you. QQ is out the door too. And I don't think that Kamitani is going to just rebuild QQ. I think she's going to end up joining another faction, and QQ's just dead.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And the whole booking of this feels a lot like character assassination on Utami. And again, Utami feels an awful lot like Rossi's last rookie.
Yeah.
Utami debuted August of 2019. Bushiroad bought the company December of 2019.
Oof.
So it feels an awful lot to me, at least. Now, Kamitani has gone from the longest reigning white belt champion since Momo, most defenses, I think, ever, maybe, at least since Momo also, to now relegated to the high speed division, out of character deciding to forgive someone without checking on the person that it hurt the most, and then out of character putting her faction on the line and losing it. This feels like character assassination to me, and it feels a lot like it's Bushiroad going out of their way to maybe not bury Kamitani, but definitely to discredit Kamitani. And part of that might even be because maybe Kamitani sees that the grass is a little greener on the other side. And maybe Kamitani wants to go over to Marigold when her Bushiroad contract comes up. Maybe.
God, I hope so.
Maybe. But that's a big thing for me. I
Yeah.
have a lot of suspicions and fears over the direction that Stardom's going in right now. Now, on the Marigold side, I like a lot of what they're doing in Marigold. A lot. But I gotta tell you, man, I was hoping the roster would be a lot bigger than this.
Interesting. So it doesn't have enough depth for you right now. Unless I'm like mischaracterizing your position. I'm just kind of trying to follow your.
No, you're good. You're
Yeah.
point on point, hammer on the nail, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that we would have a bunch of women coming in from different promotions. I thought we would have two or three coming in from Tej, two or three coming in from Ice Ribbon, a few from Sendai, a few from Wave, a few from Actress Girls, which we got 6 from Actress Girls. But really what it came down to is you've got the core 6 from Stardom, including Nanae, which gross. You brought in Ishikawa, and then you've got the 6 from Actress Girls and the 3 Gaijin, and that's your roster, and that's it. It's a really small roster, which also means that we are seeing the same people on every single show, and I don't love that.
Yeah.
And it's also a roster where people's sort of weaknesses are going to get exposed really quickly. And you know that I fucking love Koki Amare, but
Yes.
we have
Yes.
seen her botch more in the last 2 weeks than I knew a wrestler was capable of botching.
Yeah.
And that is not to say that I don't ever want to see her wrestle again. I love being able to watch people grow and improve over time. But what I
Yes.
am saying is that she feels like a big deal in this company. She feels like one of like the most powerful sort of power levels in the company already. And like she's not really all that good right now. She's still very, very green. She's still like she's a powerhouse wrestler who's not as strong as you would expect her to be. I want her to get better because she has all the tools necessary to be the ace of Money Gold if she wants to be. But like it's not there yet. And by having her wrestle as many singles matches as she has and having her wrestle just in general as frequently as she has on these shows, it feels like they're exposing her a little bit to me. I feel like she should be in like 6 and 8 woman tag matches so she gets the experience, but she's not being exposed quite as much. And that's not just a her thing either. I think that also applies to like your Mila Graces and Zeta Steels of the world, where you might see an upside and you might see someone who could be something really good eventually, but right now they might have work to do, but they're doing so much right now and so much is being asked of them that it's like when they drop the ball one time, it feels like this big deal, you know?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question too, while we're talking about Money Gold a bit more critically. Do you have because I think I'm just a naturally suspicious person when it comes to pro wrestling. I mean, you and I between us have decades between us, and so we've seen a lot of fuck shit. How do you feel about the potential WWE relationship? Because we know, I shouldn't even really say potential, because we know Io is going to be on the July 13th show
Yeah.
wrestling Utami. And like, it's so easy.
See, that's one
Myself
thing that I'm actually optimistic about, honestly.
is that relationship. So you don't think Triple H is going to try and do any fuck shit with Rossi or
Well,
the
because dude,
way out?
here's the thing. Already, literally, the very first thing that we're getting from this relationship is something AEW has never fucking done for Stardom. Let them
Yeah.
use one of your talents. Stardom has never used an AEW talent before, ever. AEW has already gotten to use Mina and Azumi, and now coming up very, very soon on, I believe this coming Sunday, actually, at Forbidden Door, they're also going to be getting Momo Watanabe and Tam. And Willow actually is the one time. Willow Nightingale went to Japan to defend her TBS title against Tam Nakano right before her defense against Sasha, against Mercedes. And
Yeah.
of course she's going to retain. And it's Tam Nakano. She's the ace of the company at this point, and she lost. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh, Tam, that's why I'll never be Mayu. Or
Well, that's the
beat
thing.
Mayu for
Like,
that
you and
matter.
I don't even like Tam, but having Tam Nakano, the ace of Stardom, lose to an upper mid carder in AEW's already weak women's division is egregious to me. And I love
Yeah.
Willow. I love Willow, and I fucking hate Tam Nakano. And yet that decision is whack as hell. But they
Yeah.
had to have that. They had to do it because she was about to defend her title in a fucking match on a pay per view. You can't have the champion lose like 5 days before a pay per view where she's defending the title.
Yeah. Again, somebody, by the way, that when Stardom had her, it was more like New Japan had her, and she did like what, one, maybe two Stardom appearances.
One,
Like,
she appeared on a
what?
Stardom show one time to lose the title to Mayu, and that's it. She was on a one New Japan show in the West, one New Japan show in Japan, and one Stardom show. And then the next time that she was on either one of those promotions, it was for New Japan Strong, and it was for the brand new created New Japan Strong Women's title. And she won a match, and then she lost to Willow in the finals because of her injury. And that was the last we saw of her until she showed up in AEW. She wrestled 4 matches. One of them was for Stardom.
Oof. Dude, I don't know. But do you have any more thoughts, actually, as far as like your share of this question?
What was the question again? Oh,
Just like what we feel about Stardom and Money Gold, or
as
like,
far as what my opinion on them is currently, I think I was pretty thorough about that. Which one do I prefer? Right now, I will say Muddy Gold, but it's not by a huge margin. I still enjoy both of them. I just have so much suspicion about Stardom, and just their relationship with AEW just gives me so much just apprehension, and it makes me feel like I have a one finger on the eject button at all times. And like Monty Gold just feels like I want more. I just feel like I'm not being satiated when I watch Monty Gold. But maybe that's a good thing though. Maybe that's like the thing that's going to keep us going and keep us watching and keep us not feeling sick of it, kind of thing.
I'll
Um,
feel more sated with Money Gold if they bring in something. Like, I'm begging for access. Like, I hate to be a stickler about that, but like
well, that's the other thing too is that
yeah.
because of this split now, not only did Stardom lose its subtitler, but now Money Gold, Sonny's there. he's just not subbing fucking anything.
I don't know
Like
why.
we don't have subs
Like,
on either one now. We don't have there is literally no Joshi promotion currently that subtitles promos at all, period. And it's like, what the fuck are we meant to do? Do you
yeah,
want us to like literally like go out and learn Japanese right now? Because fuck, man.
yeah, and like
I'm
I'm just gonna be
literally
blunt.
as you were talking about how important subtitling was, I'm sitting here thinking to myself like, well, shit, man, I see a need. I'm already like a step towards learning Japanese. Maybe I should work harder to learn Japanese so that I can sub, and maybe I can start making some of that fucking coffee money like Dana was back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like something because
I miss
look,
the hell out of Dana, by the way. Dana, we love you. We miss you. I hope you're
yeah,
doing
real
well.
seriously, I hope she's doing well too because she was doing a service. And by the way, just to give Stardom like an honest true blue fuck you, it was alleged. I can't prove it. I don't even know if Dana can concretely prove it, but I feel like Stardom might have plagiarized her translations. Like it just seemed like she would throw up some screenshots of like what the wrestlers would say and like that translated and like her recaps. And yeah, I definitely feel like there was plagiarism there. And she's never been compensated by a major Joshi promotion. They'd be lucky to hire her or any translator that does the thankless fucking labor of making products accessible to a wider audience. And I will say this too, and I'm speaking solely for myself here. I'm going to say that one more time. I'm speaking solely for myself here. I'm not just in this anymore for the really, really good matches because honestly, that whole fucking notion's getting a little obnoxious to me.
We have a question
Especially
about
given,
that later, actually.
what represents a good match in this day and age.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
Like, give me dynamics, give me relationships, give me psychology, give me character growth, give me agonizing decisions, give me joy, give me sadness, give me a production, right? Like, I know there's been this whole thing like, some fans criticize fans like me that think that wrestling is a form of theater. Like, oh, don't try and make it fancier than what it is. It's blue collar. So blue collar people don't deserve culture. Like I've just always been like I hate the idea of culture as like an elitist thing. I think culture is for fucking everybody. So like get your head out of your ass. I don't care how many fucking flips you can do before you hit the fucking senton and give me some goddamn accessible promos. Like I'm just really like I don't know. I'm just really checked out with a lot of stuff. I think WWE is honestly the best wrestling going right now, like by and
Yeah.
large.
Yeah.
Be- yeah, because I enjoy the get like honestly, I still love Stardom, but because they're locking me out of what I loved most, I can honestly say that what Chad Gable has done with the Academy and like that whole story with him and Otis is honestly more compelling to me than most stuff I've seen in Stardom in months. And that's just me speaking my personal truth. Like I'm more for the interpersonal dynamics and the characters than I am for really good, really spirited matches. And they are really good and they are really spirited. But if I don't know what you're even fighting about, why should I give a shit? So that's just where I am. And Marty Gold may have that same problem. I'm keeping my eye on him. And I hope I'm not ranting about them in a couple months either, but we'll see. So
I
next
do like
question.
though that we got like some story with like the Zeta Steel Mozilla feud.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, that's we got something in Money Gold at least. Anyway, let's move on. Uh, are there? I'm sorry, I apologize, I misread. Are there foreign movies that were impactful to you?
Oh God.
I mean, bro, your old boy thing.
Oh, dude. Oh, I was just talking to Chris about that last. Actually, no, I should say this morning because my sleep's fucked. Old boy, yeah, is fantastic. I want to say, is it Ingmar Bergman? Seventh Seal, I think is like a foreign film, and that's fantastic. I want to watch more foreign cinema. It's funny that that question was asked because there's like I want to watch Kurosawa, and I've been saying that for years. There's an Italian director that I want to watch. So yeah, I definitely want to watch more foreign cinema. So hopefully, I'd give a more robust answer of this question when I ever come back around. But yeah, I'd say Seventh Seal, Old Boy, films like that definitely very impactful to me for sure. What about you?
I don't really have a good answer, honestly. I think I don't really watch too much foreign cinema personally, and
Yeah,
it's not like a lack of appreciation for foreign cinema. I literally just ADHD means watching a movie where you have to read every line of dialogue is really fucking hard for me to pay attention to.
yeah, that's more than understandable for sure.
All
Um,
right. So now our last and final thing from Hazard. It's not a question. He just basically wants us both to publicly denounce the far right party in France, which is the RN. I'll just say it because I practiced a little bit earlier and I think I can do this. Fuck. Okay, I gotta do this. I'm
I
on the
believe in you.
spot
You can do
now,
this.
and this is awful.
No,
I
you can
hate
do
being on
this.
the spot. Fuck le Rassemblement National. That's my best. John, you can try if you want, or just say fuck the RN. That's fine too.
I'm gonna pound and say fuck the RN, fuck Marie Le Pen, and fuck right wing, like far right wing ideology across the globe, and especially what we're seeing in Europe and France. I'm pulling for you because you have
Yeah.
some of the best protesters I've ever fucking seen. Don't stop, don't give in. And Macron, why you would call a snap? I don't know what it is with you milquetoast politicians and snap elections. Fucking stop. Okay, like
Is that like a
read the
trend?
fucking data. Well, yeah, because the UK did it too. Sunak called like it's not, and they're having an election July 4th because their whole thing is you have to have an election every 5 years, but you can call it whenever you want within that 5 year period. And when the Tories were doing terrible, which I mean, fuck the Tories, so like I don't care, but they were doing terrible, and Sunak's like, oh well, let's call an election and let the people decide. As if you're gonna like what? This isn't a fucking movie, bro. You're not gonna pull out the inspirational fucking win. And the sad thing is, the guy that's probably gonna upend Tory power is so fucking bland that like nobody finds him interesting. And they literally took like a random poll in the streets and they were like, he has a face. That was generally the vibe, you know? And it's like, Jesus
Yes, a
Christ.
face.
Wait,
That's amazing.
and and Macron the same way. Like when Macron first came in, like years ago, I didn't really know what to think about him, but it's very clear that he's just like another neoliberal kind of leader. And I feel so bad for DBK because I know he's railed against Macron, like in our politics channel on our Discord, and like I don't blame him because neoliberalism and austerity and all this stuff. But credit to the French people, they even get a whiff of austerity, they will shit in the fucking like literally the Seine that they expect Olympic swimmers to swim into because they're hosting the Olympics in those, which by the way was a very unpopular decision with the French people. There was a shit in where they're like, come at this day and this time because this politician promised to swim in it. And while they're swimming in that river, let's shit in it right in front of her to know, hey, you're swimming in our shit. Fuck you. And I'm like, that is the most base shit I've ever fucking heard. Amazing. I wish we had even an ounce of the audacity of French people. It's incredible. So yeah, fuck the far right. I'm praying for you, Jill. I'm praying for you and all other French people, including DBK and all of our fucking comrades in France. So, next question.
Rassemblement National. I practiced earlier. I tried.
Yeah, he did, and he did amazing because Ashton's face is amazing and it puts effort into things. So, great
The
job.
next set of questions are from Rotten Butter, and the first question is Rotten Butter's first question.
Okay, it's after 1:30, so I'm gonna try and get through this relatively quickly, but also accurately.
I have a fucking list.
So you're prepared. That's
I
great.
am prepared.
Um, God, that's probably more than me then. Uh, my family and I, we did start watching the challenge again. Really good season. It's not the latest one. I think it's like season 38. And that's been really good.
What are you watching that on?
We're watching that on Paramount Plus, Paramount Plus.
Nice.
You and I are obviously watching The Boys. Great. I'm actually surprised that this season's getting a lot of mixed reviews from both sides.
Oh,
Like, obviously, the right's going to be butthurt, but I'm surprised even people on the left have a problem with it because I even just told you last night, like, that show captures corporate tone fucking perfectly. Um,
yeah.
my family and I, we started watching Baby Reindeer, and like I've watched a lot of fucked up shit. I've cackled at a lot of fucked up shit. In fact, again, The Boys last night, I don't even know if Ashton heard because I feel like I had my crystal off. There was a fucked up scene with somebody getting dismembered, and I cackled. And I don't know what that says about me. Probably nothing good, but I enjoyed it immensely. Baby Reindeer was deeply uncomfortable to me. We haven't finished it still, and yeah, that's an interesting show. Not saying it's a bad show. I'm just saying it deals with themes that I'm like, I thought I was ready for it, and no, was not. Uh so God, what else? Nevertell came out with a song last night, so that's it on the music front. Music front's been interesting because like obviously, I mean, dude, the fucking Kendrick Drake beef was this quarter, and like rap fans were fucking eating. Rap reactors
Oh
got
my
fed
god, you're right. That was this
on this.
quarter. Holy shit.
I mean, that was the biggest thing in music this quarter by far. I don't even think that's me like being hyperbolic.
Dude,
Like,
I think that you could make an argument that that was the biggest thing in all culture this quarter.
yeah, like Kendrick Lamar could probably retire and like he'd retire a winner because Not Like Us is being played in clubs on the radio. People were singing to it at a fucking concert hosted by fucking Amazon. Like
Dude, he played
Kendrick
it 5 times at that concert
and what's
to close
Drake
the show.
doing? Oh yeah, a rendition of Hey There Delilah. Don't think we didn't see the video, bro. What the
Dude,
fuck is going on? there.
So cringe.
Yeah, you squeaked. Honestly, that might be the best thing that Drake did in this whole feud was get you to squeak. That was precious.
I
Um,
squeaked from cringe
yeah, did it hurt a lot? I bet it did.
hard.
Yeah, yeah, it'll do that. Um, so yeah, there was that. Watched a couple movies this quarter. I wish I could remember what the fuck I watched. I mean, when we watched Chris Rock movies, you
Oh,
and I
dude, you
recently.
want me to list them off?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Because I have, like I said, I have the list. So X-Men '97 was mostly this quarter, believe it or not.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Only only the first 3 episodes were last quarter. The entire other 7 were this quarter. So that's one big one. We watched Mean Girls 2024, the Mean Girls, the movie, the musical, basically. Wish, we watched. Migration. You mentioned Boys, but we also watched Invincible Season 2, Part 2 this quarter.
Yes.
Sandland, we finished this quarter. Fallout was this quarter.
Yeah.
Well, we watched Jungle Cruise. We watched Fruitvale Station. We watched The American Society of Magical Negroes. We watched The Sympathizer, which was a series, a mini series on Max, which is pretty good. We watched Knuckles, and because we watched Knuckles, we also watched the first 2 Sonic movies. We're actively watching My Adventures with Superman and House of the Dragon season 2. You mentioned The Boys, and most recently we watched Chris Rock. I would say probably his 2 sort of biggest, like most successful movies that he was the star of, Down to Earth and Head of State.
Yeah. Also, Polo G came out with a new single this quarter, Angels in the Sky. I quite liked it. I know Polo G gets a lot of hate. People, sardonically calling him Piano G because I don't think they really like his brand of melodic rap. I personally do. I'm waiting for another album to come out from him. Don't know when that'll be.
Apparently not
Also,
soon enough.
apparently not soon enough. I don't think Mosaic came out with anything new this quarter, but I am thinking about the most recent song they came out with. It would also be nice if they came out at least with like an EP or something, some kind of mixtape, maybe some kind of fucking shit. So yeah, music was actually a bit weaker for me this quarter as far
Darn.
as like listening to anything new or anything like really engaging outside of a few scraps here and there. So I'll have to see what next quarter brings. Um, I've been doing a lot of the YouTube playables. I don't know if you guys are familiar that YouTube's offering games now, like in browser.
Dude, same. Which ones have you been playing?
Okay, so I can't believe we actually get to talk about this. So I've tried out a couple.
I
My
mean,
favorite
bro,
by
they've basically taken phone games, which might be fun if they weren't laden with ads, and put them on a browser where we can use an ad blocker.
yeah, like I will tell you, I've tested a few of the game. Well, tested, quote unquote. I've played a few of the games. Let me get like over myself. But I've played a few of the games. The best one by far that I've played is Stealth Master. I don't know if you've played that
I
one.
have not tried that one, but
It
I have seen it.
it feels like the most complete game because it has 21 levels. You can raise EXP, stuff like that. And like they apparently say that more upgrades are coming, which if that's true, it's exciting. So again, it feels like the most complete game. I played this one game, Our Wonderful Life, and that sucks ass. Literally, you check in, you play it for maybe like 15 minutes, and then you just close out for the hour because everything's reset. Like it's so limited what you can do.
Our
Lately, the
Wonderful
game I've been
Life, you
addicted.
said.
Beg pardon?
You said it was called Our Wonderful Life?
I think so, something to that effect. Yeah, Our
Let
Wonderful
me.
Life or something to that effect.
Our
I've
Wonderful
played
Life.
Word of Wordle, which is right up my alley because it's like Boggle and like crossword at the
Right.
same time. It's weird. I've played
I
Tall
don't
Man
see Our
Run.
Wonderful Life on here.
Yeah, I probably got the title wrong. To be fair, I probably got it way wrong. It's something Life, Perfect Life, or something Life.
Oh,
Um,
shit.
let me even see. No, they don't have like a playables tab. Um, but yeah, if I saw it, I'd be able to like pick it out. But Tall Man
Adorable
Run,
Home?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that game sucks.
Oh,
That game
nice.
absolutely sucks. Um, I've been really into Tall Man Run. I kind of like mindlessly play that with
Dude, I
Joshua
played
because
the shit out of that game.
I like when I get to fight the boss with a really plumpy ass in the back. I feel like that
Yo!
really should be what knocks them out rather than just my random foot that just
So,
apparently does the same damage whether I'm really skinny or not. But
yeah.
what were you going to say?
Well, no. So, okay. So, I figured that game out a little bit because basically you want to get as tall as you possibly can. Like, if you have the
Yes.
choice to get a little taller or a little thicker, you always want to get taller every single time because it really doesn't fucking matter how thick you are. You want to be as tall as possible because when you get to the end, you want to get as many coins as possible, and you lose height slower than you lose thickness.
So let me just ask you something since you figured out the game a little bit and you've played it too. Because
Yeah.
I actually wanted to email the developers about this, and I'm 90% sure like AI was involved somewhere with this game because I'm literally up to like episode 5 or excuse me, level 500 something,
Yeah.
and like it's not over. And I'm like, do you just auto generate levels? Like, what the fuck is going on? What are the fucking purple diamond like crystal things for? Do you use them for anything? Because like
I
I'm
don't
trying to
know.
navigate.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Dude, I have over 120,000 of them, and I'm like, I'd love to spend these on fucking something. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, when I tell you I've put time in on that game, I've put time in on that fucking game. Also, I will say my only drawback of Tall Man Run, which like it's addictive, and it's like it's my version of grazing with games, right? Because I'll play it without even really thinking about it. When I'm
Yep.
like, oh, I should make food, just one more level though, and it's like fuck.
Yeah.
But like, if we're actually looking at the game for what it is, there are some levels where you can, and legitimately, I've proven this, and you've probably proven this too if you've put the time in that you're kind of talking about, where you can do everything right but still lose and like not face the boss at the end.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you
no,
could play
dude,
the level.
absolutely. There are a lot of levels where you can play perfectly and you still don't get tall or thick enough to actually make it to the boss, and it's infuriating.
Yeah, and I'm like, what was the fucking point? I've
Yeah.
also played the game like
Have you, by
something
the way,
find.
have you figured out a way to get around the zipline glitch?
Oh no, no, I haven't.
Dude,
Zipline is
literally, as soon as
infuriating. Yeah.
I see a zipline, I take my hand off the mouse.
Oh, interesting.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
like if once my guy jumps and I know that he's jumping onto a zip line, I take my hand off the mouse and I don't move it because I know that as soon as you try and like swing left to right, it fucks your whole like perspective up, and your guy is like walking cockeyed. Basically, it's horrible.
Yeah, there are times where like I don't know if you've ever done this, but where I'm pissed that I didn't get like all the growing like power-ups,
Yeah.
that I'll just walk off the stage rather than like on the platform to launch me towards the boss and like the guardrails, and like I'll just walk off. And he does a little scream like then it says too bad and retry. And like yeah, I did that several times, even playing the
I
game
don't
most
think I've
recently.
ever lost a level on purpose. I think I just kind of like, you know what? Half of this game's levels don't let you make it to the boss on purpose anyway. So if I miss a few little growth things, fuck it. I don't give a shit.
Oh, bro, I have to tell you now. I want to get the title of this right because if there was any game that actually made me think of you, it was this one. Let me just get to the playables tab on YouTube.
There are two
And
games that I've sunk a similar amount of time into as Tall Man Run, and it was actually no, not two, one. There's one other game that I've sunk a similar amount of time into, and it was Farmland.
Farmland, there is a game that I thought about you, and I'm like, man, I feel like Ashton would appreciate this maybe. I just need to fucking okay, so I'm on the playables tab. Let me find this.
I
I think
love
it
that
was
we
called.
have this to bond over now. It's so funny.
I think it was yes. Okay, now I want to give uh not necessarily an exhaustive review because God, it's already so late, and I really do just want to get to this Q&A. Merge Master.
I've heard of
I
it. I've heard of it.
You've heard of it? Dude, I'm amazed you haven't played this shit. It has fucking dinosaurs, bro. And here's the
No,
thing,
I know, but you
like,
got to understand, I've played merge games before, and it's a rabbit hole that I really don't need to go down again.
yeah, well, I went down it, and I think the only thing that stopped me was actually finding the glitch in this. So I could tell that I was spending like a lot of time on this, and that it was really just kind of a grinding game, again, seemingly without end,
Yep.
except being the most powerful.
Yep.
That I sold all of my game pieces. But the thing is, when you sell all of your game pieces, you need at least a minimum of two. So I should say sold everything except two. It breaks your currency. And I can't buy anything now or do anything now. I'm just stuck on the level that I'm stuck at in a loop, and I can't even start a new game. Like, unless I guess I cleared my cookies or something, which I don't want to do.
That's
Uh,
incredible,
yeah,
honestly.
I broke the game. And like that's why I like kind of even said I didn't even mean to be like obnoxious about it when I said testing, because I've even wanted to give these developers feedback on this. And I should give Merge Master feedback like, hey, just so you know, when you get to a certain level and you sell your game pieces, you can't like buy new ones or re-up on strategy or anything. Cause yeah,
Yeah.
it's just broken. They tell me I
Yeah.
don't have enough coins, even though I should have enough coins. And I got far in that one too. Like I think I had one more evolution on both the warriors and the dinosaurs left. So I put time into this game. It's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
but like you said, it's a rabbit hole that you could quickly get sucked into, and
Yeah.
there's no reward in any of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
dude, I have a game on my phone called Merge Miner, I believe,
yeah,
where it's like kind of Minecrafty, where you have 5 columns, and you have like at the very beginning you get wooden pickaxes, and you can buy a new wooden pickaxe for like 50 coins or something like that. And you merge 2 wooden pickaxes together and you get a stone pickaxe. And you merge 2 stone pickaxes together and you get like an iron pickaxe or something like that.
yeah, exactly,
And it
exactly the
just
same as like
keeps
Minecraft.
upgrading
Yeah,
and upgrading. And it's like the stone pickaxe is level 2. And like the wood is level 1 and the iron is level 3. And like you just keep, and then it's like diamond or gold. And then it's like obsidian. But then like eventually it's like, oh, pickaxes become shovels, and then shovels become swords or fucking axes or some shit. And eventually it's like you get to fucking drills, and eventually get to fucking bullets, like, and then eventually bullets become bombs and shit. And dude, I shit you not, I've beaten this game so hard that I have reached the point that you literally cannot merge anymore. I literally have gotten to the point in this game that I've tried merging the level 61, which is like a big nuclear bomb looking thing. I've tried merging them together and it will not let me because I've gotten as high as the game will let me go. So that's why I stopped playing it.
just real quick to go back to playable, since you kind of got me on like a role that I didn't expect to be on. These are all the games that I've played. A maze is also a really good one. That's a relaxation game for me because I can do it and not even really think about it, and it honestly like calms
Nice.
me down. I haven't played that game in a minute. I know there are like 300 levels. I think I'm halfway through the game, halfway through the maze is available. Bazooka Boy sucks. Basketball
Bazooka Boy, nice.
Yeah, basketball FRVR is okay, but it gets frustrating very quickly. So I
Yeah.
would only play it like maybe 10, 15 minutes at a time. Block Drop is just Tetris, so I haven't even tried it. Color Burst 3D, I wanted to like because I like the visuals, but I do not like the mechanics at all. With me having CP, my motor skills aren't the best, and so me manipulating certain things isn't always going to go well. So I don't want
Right.
to indict the game too hard, but could have been a bit better on that front. Tried the daily crossword one time, felt like shit, so thanks for that. Let's see. Find Out, yeah, that's an okay game, but
Oh, I've played
it's
Draw Climber before. That's okay. That's kind of fun. It's like
yeah, I didn't touch
basically
that
like
one.
a
Yeah.
it's basically like, hey, like, can you mentally figure out like your spatial awareness on how the best way to navigate this specific plane would be?
Yeah. I played one about hotels, and that was very boring very quickly. I'm like, there are only so
Dude,
many times I can stay in
all
a
of the
room after.
hotel ones, yeah, like the hotel is literally just like, take the money, now go clean out the room, and now
Yes,
go clean out the
yes.
bathroom, now go grab the towels and wash those. Like, bruh, if I wanted to do this, I'd get that fucking job in real life. Fuck you.
What the one I'll tell you the one that was disappointing to me. So again, I want to say the best one by far from my experience was Stealth Master. I recommend
Right,
anybody if you want to kill
right.
time, play that one. I think you'd have a lot of fun with it. And I didn't really notice any glitches from my side. And I think it's a very generous game that even like when you die, they actually up your currency to like help you kind of win because weapons, cost money per
Ah,
mission. So I again, it feels like the most complete game. I've got nothing but love for Stealth Master. I've played it through twice. So yeah, the one that disappoints me though, and it's gonna be weird for me to come out with this, is color page ASMR because I thought a coloring game sounded nice, but you can only color within their borders. Like you can't just color for the sake of coloring. Like you have to just do the preset designs
oh,
the way they want you to color before you move on to the next page. And it's like, well,
yeah.
that's kind of sucks. Like I would have liked
Yeah,
a relaxation thing, just be able to like
yeah.
doodle and whatever. But they're like, no, fuck you.
Yeah,
Um,
like I said, I played a lot of Farmland. Like I played more Farmland than even Tall Man Run.
yeah,
And the reason that I don't play it anymore is because it actually just got so fucking laggy that my computer can't handle it. And like that's unappealing.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I built my farm out so big that like I don't know, it's like my computer can't handle like rendering so many assets or something. I don't know, it's weird as fuck.
yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, that's pretty much it. I know there are some games on here that I recognize as phone games. Like if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's like a wood nuts and bolts game that I know I play on my phone, but like
that game's okay.
I'd be
I
better
played
off
that one
playing
too.
it on here because there are no fucking ads because ad blocker's a good thing.
Yeah, that game's okay. I played a few levels of that once I got the hang of it. I'm embarrassed to say that it took me a while to get, like, how to do it,
Right.
but once I did, I got through a few levels, and that's not
I know
bad.
I've played State.io on here before, and that was
That one
kind of
was
cool.
actually fun. I only
Yeah.
played that one time, though. That actually
Same.
kinda made me
That's
hyperventilate a little
another
bit because 'cause
one
I'm
where
like,
it's like I know that if I give myself to this, it's just fucking over.
yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's it for me, though. If you wanna go through your list so that
I
we can,
did
like, get
play
to this
Idle
question.
Restaurants at one point too, but that's pretty much just like a Skinner box.
Okay, yeah, alright. But yeah,
Anyway,
I don't have anything
um,
else to update on, so
yeah. So as far as my list, it's pretty much just like God. I mean, here's the thing. If I were to go through everything, I'd be going all the way back to like beginning of April. I already covered pretty much everything that you and I have watched um, together in the last 3 months because I had a list. I'm proud of myself for that.
as you should be. I was very, very forward thinking. I should actually keep a list so that I could get through these questions quicker rather than, like, hemming and hawing. So, yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like personal like stuff that I've done on my own, the only thing as far as recently that I can really think of off the top of my head is watching that Who Killed WCW docuseries. And I know you and I plan on watching that together.
Yes,
Probably
yes.
actually once we get through Primal. Once we catch up on Primal, we're probably gonna get into that.
Yeah, sounds great to me.
But then as far as games go, I've been on a real Pokemon kick lately. I've been playing um, Pokemon Blue, actually, like the original Pokemon Blue for the original Game Boy, not even Game Boy Color. Because here's a really cool thing you might not know: PlayStation Vita is a kick-ass emulation machine. It has an OLED screen and it has the ability to emulate any Game Boy game you want, basically. Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, Game Boy Advance. It can emulate it, and I usually use 2x scaling. And for the Game Boy, the original Game Boy games like Pokemon Blue, I actually use a Super Game Boy filter, or like rather not filter, but like a Super Game Boy emulator. So it actually gives it color that looks better than if you would have played the Game Boy game in a Game Boy Color. It looks really good. John, do you know what a Super Game Boy is?
No, I do not.
So you know what the SNES was, the Super Nintendo.
Yes, yes, yes.
Super Nintendo had a cartridge that you could put fucking Game Boy games in and play Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there is an emulator of that. So there is literally an emulator where you can play Game Boy games on that emulator as if you were playing them on your Super Nintendo. And that's what I play my Pokemon Blue on. And it looks fucking fantastic. I play it at 2x scaling. So, like, instead of the tiny little pixels that I would have to look at on the regular 1x, I double it. And it looks great. It looks fantastic. And the only other real game that I've been playing significantly by myself, other than Pokemon, has been Golden Sun, and that's more recent. I've been on a major Golden Sun kick just this week, and I'm absolutely loving it, having a lot of fun with it. Do you know, John? This is something that I might not have ever told you. I haven't played the sequel to Golden Sun: The Lost Age, in probably like close to 20 years.
Wow, that's
It's
wild.
definitely at least 15. Uh,
Yeah,
and then to like double down on that, I've never played the third Golden Sun game in my life. Golden Sun Dark
damn.
Dawn, I've never played it in my life.
Well, there
I
you
look
go.
forward to playing it one day, but never have before. I have it on my DS, on my DSi. Never played it, but I have it. So that's fun. I did play a little bit of Pokemon Legends Arceus relatively recently, like within the last few months, this quarter. I started a new save file, and that game is really fun, but it's also like really time consuming, and it's really hard to find a chunk of time to just sit down and crank it out.
For sure, yeah.
So I think that about covers my gaming experience over the last few months. I know I did play a little bit of Smash with the boys a few nights ago. That might have been Tuesday night. What's today?
Friday technically Saturday. Well, yeah, Friday the 28th,
Then you know
technically.
what? I think it was actually Saturday night. that we played Smash.
Okay.
Other than that, though, I don't really have anything musically. I've been listening to the radio mostly. Haven't really found any crazy cool new stuff to share. I did post that one song. God, what was the name of that? Let me pull up the music channel real quick. It's before the Kendrick concert, so it's pretty buried.
Oh, okay.
Here it is, "Running in Circles" by the Dead Poet Society. That slapped. I really enjoyed that.
Right.
Sabrina Carpenter's taken over, man. Like she's like almost like the new Olivia Rodrigo with like she has like 3 or 4 different songs that are super popular playing on radio stations right now. It's like you literally can't turn on the radio without being able to find a Sabrina Carpenter song. You know who she is, right?
Well, yeah, she was in Girl
Maya.
Meets World. Yeah,
Yeah, she
Maya in
was
Girl Meets
Maya.
World.
She was like the Shawn of Girl Meets World. Yeah. Yeah, dude, she's fucking blowing up right now. She's got like 3 or 4 huge hit singles.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Discovered Shabuzi earlier this month. Love his song, bar song "Tipsy." That was cool as hell. Loved that. Um, I don't really know what else to add. Oh fuck yeah. I don't know. Was this quarter? I don't really want to open it. I can mute it real quick and then look. No, that's 5 years old. Never mind. So yeah, I'm gonna just call it here and we can move on. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
You know what
Ron
though?
Butter
Actually,
also.
before we move on, I had a phase at the very beginning of this month. I had a '90s Eurodance phase, and that was fun as hell. And I discovered that a huge chunk of the popular '90s Eurodance that we all loved was made by black artists.
Of course it was.
It was just straight up. Like you go back, like even literally, we're about to get a meme question from Abel. What is love? That song was made by a black man.
Amazing.
Not even joking. It's crazy. I think I posted like a dozen Eurodance songs, and it wasn't even just me either. Kirby got in on it. I think Sean might have gotten in on it. Like there were several of us posting Eurodance songs from the '90s. 80% of them were by black artists.
That's wild. Ron Butter did point out too that it was Haikyuu for you this quarter because
Haikyuu, was that this quarter?
he said it was,
It
but
must
you
have
know.
been this quarter, yeah. We haven't gotten around to seeing the movie yet, but it was a fantastic anime series. Really, really good. I'm actually annoyed that they're ending the series with movies instead of another season or two.
Yeah, that always sucks when that happens.
Yeah, that's really, really frustrating. What else are they doing that with? There's something else. Oh, fuck. I don't remember. It might come to me at some point, but there's another really popular show that is getting like movies to end it instead of another season or two. I mean, they basically did that with the Owl House, and that sucked too.
That sucked too. Dude. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah.
move on. Next question from Rotten Butter is: You are now in possession of your very own spaceship. What do you name it?
The Odyssey. Just because we're gonna go on
Nice.
adventures. Yeah. Yeah, the Odyssey.
You know what? I would kind of copy the Guardians of the Galaxy since they liked to name all of their ships after older music artists. I would call mine the Hendrix.
I love that, dude. Look at us. Wow. Good
Yep.
shit. All
Third and
right.
final question from Rotten Butter. John, I'm going to send you this message because I know that you've heard this line because you've been watching this show and you can read it in the tone of the person who said it.
Okay. Awaiting your message, I guess.
Sent.
Ah. Oh. Oh God, what was the tone? Because I know what this is. I know what this is. I didn't pull a Biden. I didn't have a brain fart. Um,
Nice.
would like to hang out with me and smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout 2 for the PS2. It was the landlord in Smiling Friends.
There you go. I
Which
knew it was a Smiling Friends reference, but I haven't watched it, so there you go.
Ron Butter, I gotta tell you too, we gotta talk, man, eventually, maybe in the movies and television channel on the Discord about that season finale because that Bill Nye parody took me out. And I'm kind of upset that the season's already over. I hope season 3 doesn't take too long, but this is the world we live in, so it's probably not going to be for a year.
You posted that
Next
Bill
question.
Nye parody already, didn't you? In the
I,
wrestling discussion.
yeah, I shared it because somebody else uploaded it because Adult Swim originally uploaded it, but then they privatized it for reasons I don't know. I don't know if Bill
Those
Nye's estate was like,
sons of
hey,
bitches.
I know, like the way he just like tenses up after the electrocution in his arms and his legs just like falls back had me dead. I'm not as dead as him, of course, but I mean, still, like Jesus Christ.
Jesus
Uh,
Christ, man. Fuck.
um, so 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 yeah, and yeah, Ron, we got stuff to talk about for sure. But next set of questions.
Abel is first up. What
Oh
is
my
love?
God, my firstborn and my bestborn. Let's talk about it. What are his questions?
His first question is literally, what is love?
Um. Oh God, a part of me just wants to sing the song, but you know what,
You know what?
son?
Our Discord got that covered. Our Discord sang the song for him.
Oh, good. You know what, son? I'm gonna be quintessentially your father, and I'm going to quote one of my favorite philosophers who taught about love. Love is to desire the prosperity of the beloved. Which one of the interlocutors in the dialogue that he wrote about love said, "I thought love was the desire to be good." To which they reply, "It is the same thing." And I think I've already told you that before, but there it is again. So, Ashton, what is love to you?
Man, that's it's a tough question. I loved your answer. To me, love is about it's it's funny because I always grew up being told that loving someone is about valuing their life over your own, and I think to a certain degree that is definitely true.
Yeah.
But I also think that there are some exceptions where that shouldn't apply.
Yes.
Like for example, if somebody is just kind of if somebody doesn't value their own life, that can't really apply because if somebody doesn't value their own life, then I don't think that they love everybody in the world. I think they just don't love themselves enough. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So and that's the thing too is like you can love yourself and like to use that definition would imply that you love yourself more than you love yourself, and that's just nonsense. That's a tautology. It's nonsense.
Right.
So I would say to love someone. I loved your definition of basically saying to love someone is to wish to see them prosper, basically. But
Yes.
like, I mean, I want to see AOC prosper. That doesn't mean I love her. You know what I mean? Um,
True.
but like, I don't know. I think there's something more to it than that that I'm having a hard time really identifying. I think it's more about like when you love someone, you want to place their needs above your own. You want to prioritize their happiness above your own convenience, basically.
Yeah.
And again, like I don't think that that is like something that applies to everyone because I do think that in order for this definition to even apply, you have to love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself, then I don't think that you're truly capable of loving anyone at all,
Yes.
other than maybe just like this like sort of sense of like familial love of like appreciation and kind of that kind of thing.
Yes.
But like once you do love yourself truly, then I think it becomes a thing of like you love someone when you see them as being someone that you want to see thrive so much that you actively work towards making that happen, even if it means that it's inconvenient for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's that kind of thing. So I do think that self love needs to come first because the whole idea of defining love as caring about someone else over yourself is meaningless if you don't love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, then saying, oh, love is caring about someone else more than you love yourself, it's like, well, yeah, that's fucking everyone if you don't love yourself, right?
Very true.
So, like,
Yes.
self love definitely has to come first. But once you fully achieve that self love, then we can move on to, okay, now that you love yourself, love is about loving is about I almost did a tautology of my own there. Love
Yeah.
is about finding someone who you would be willing to inconvenience yourself if it meant that it got them to be able to thrive. And what was the word that you used, your quote?
Prosperity.
Prosper.
It-
Yeah, prosper.
yeah.
There you go. So that's how I would say it. Next question from Abel. The debate happened tonight. Thoughts?
Haven't watched it, but I've watched the reactions to it, and Jesus fucking Christ, son, it's time to get some passports and look elsewhere. We are fucked.
God, but you know what though, John? I have a little cheat code for you.
What's that now?
We live in the US, and the US is the only place in the world that won't get disrupted or invaded by the US.
Yeah, fair. God though, the U.S. still also makes it hard for U.S. citizens to fucking live. Uh, so you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's just an
I
embarrassment.
agree. I agree that it sucks here, but like, where doesn't suck right
Where it doesn't suck? That is actually a genuinely good question because I feel like even countries that I used to be able to say, that's not so much the case anymore.
now? Yeah.
Like I know New Zealand's doing some eugenicist shit that I'm
Yeah.
like, uh,
And like South Korea and Japan are places that a lot of people that are like leftist want to be like, I want to move there. And it's like, no. Have you heard of their hustle culture? Because it blows ours out of the water.
yeah. I will say
Bro,
this.
dude, please hold on to that thought. Please do not forget
Yeah,
that thought. I
yeah,
just had to say this. I saw something the other day that blew my fucking mind. So apparently in Japan, the prefectural government races have a law that requires anyone running for that position to get TV time to allow them to state their thoughts. And there was a fucking Joker candidate. There was a dude dressed up as a Joker, basically. And he, of course, did his whole laughing gimmick like the Joker does, but he spoke truth to power, dude. It was crazy. He was talking shit about the government, saying basically saying like people are working their asses off but they can't afford rent and shit. Like he was actually making so much sense. It was incredible.
damn. Yeah,
Oh,
that's wild,
yeah.
man.
Now please read your point.
No, I was gonna say like if the Democrats after seeing that debate performance tonight don't think about like swapping him out come August at the DNC, you like honestly you deserve to lose as a party. We don't deserve to lose as a country, but you deserve to lose as a party because
Right.
that's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Um, Republicans, I don't feel like have a choice. I feel like Trump is the guy that they're going to run with, even if they didn't want to run him, just because he has such a foaming at the mouth, like rabid base that you know if they don't, they might even vote against Republican out of spite or do even worse.
Bro,
Like who even knows? They already tried to
Trump
do an insurrection, you know?
Trump's in such a weird, not Trump specifically, but like the Trump base is in such a weird spot right now because they think they're the most powerful people in the room, but like they're losing to Mormons.
Yeah,
The Trump endorsed candidate for a Senate spot in Utah lost to a Mormon. Like, it's fucking Utah, of course. Everyone's Mormon in Utah. Not literally. It's a generalization. I know that. But, like, as a general rule, Utah is a very Mormon heavy state. But, like, the Trump endorsed candidate lost.
yeah,
And, like, he lost to, like, not a centrist, but, like, more of like a traditional Republican. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. Like it's just telling me though that like Trump and Trump's endorsement, they don't have as much power as they think they do.
No, they don't. And I think that's something to remember. But like, I don't know, man. A gerontocracy needs to fucking go. It needs to be talked about. And it's not even just at the presidential level. Like our Congress is gerontocracy personified. Like there
Dude,
are only like
AOC literally just recently said something in Congress about how 59% of America was white, 75% of Congress is white. Whatever, I think 50% or 51% or whatever of America is men, 75% of Congress is men. And the right wing Twitter lost their minds calling her a racist, sexist piece of shit. I'm like, what?
every accusation's a confession, first of all. And like
Yeah.
I don't even like AOC, but where is that even coming from? Like She's just spitting facts, if nothing else. Like, get over it. Yeah, we're fucked. The reactions I've seen to that debate, like from the left and the right, well, the right, I mean, they've also had a share of like, oh, Biden's a pedo, he showers with his daughter, like vote Trump. And there are, of course, your liberals that'll stand by Biden. And then, of course, you know what though? Even with the liberals, and I gotta call them out for this, every fucking time, anybody to the left of them that has genuine criticisms, they're like, you're handing Trump the election. No, this country is handing Trump the election. Open your fucking, oh my god, I get too worked up. But yeah, like there's just been a lot of criticism. There's been a lot of depression. I have friends of mine struggling through stuff that just doing their civic duty. They're like, I'm gonna tune in to the debate, and they just looked and they were gobsmacked and they were like, what the fuck is happening? Like it's a scary time. It's a scary time. But when you have a debate like that, it's like we're a national laughingstock. And it was so funny because when Biden beat Trump the first time, he's like, oh, we're about to be respected again on the international stage. How's that working out? How's that going? Because from what I'm seeing, other countries are like, hey, do you want to get together, trade with each other, and cut the US out, aka BRICS? Fuck yeah. Like, buckle in, people. You're seeing the death of US empire. It comes once every couple thousand years. Enjoy it for what you can. I'm fascinated. I'm utterly fascinated by what we're witnessing right now. Bread and circus has never been more appropriate. It is nuts to
What does
me.
that mean?
Well, just again that like, they want people to just consume and be distracted, but like politics is just a circus. It is. It's just pure fucking theater. They were talking about their golf handicaps apparently tonight at the debate, dude. Like, come
Yeah.
on. Oh, and Trump not only referred to the black Americans as the blacks, but he apparently also tried to use Palestinian as a slur against Joe Biden. And like,
Huh?
wow. Well, he apparently said, I don't know if this is a direct quote, but he apparently called Joe Biden a very bad like Palestinian or something, and like tried to use Palestinian as an insult against Joe Biden, the very guy that's funding the genocide of Palestinians. Like, it's over. It's never like I've said this so many times as a joke, just because the first time I heard it, I died. But unironically, it may not be more over than it is right now. August, the DNC is far more interesting than the RNC to me, because the RNC, they are locking Trump in. I bet the shirt off my back that that's going to happen. I am really curious if after tonight's debate specifically, like actually seeing it, if the DNC is really thinking like, oh yeah, we can run this guy. They've got to be talking about Newsom or Harris or somebody. They've got to be. I'm like, so yeah, August is going to be very telling, but they better hurry it the fuck up, because then you think about this, dude. If they switch him out come August, then you've only got 3 months to campaign that candidate before the election. And like, that's really not a lot of time. So,
See, but that's my
oof.
thing though, is like, do you really need to campaign that candidate, or is it just a campaign against Trump?
And see, I can see what you mean, because if I was the DNC, I'd swap Biden out, maybe even quietly if I can get away with it, which I don't think I could, because I think you have to make it
Because,
public
dude,
at the
here's the thing:
DNC.
if they do, it's just going to be Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom has been showing up on MSNBC all year. He's
Yeah,
basically been running for president anyway. Like he's been showing up. He was showing up after all of the DNC, or I'm sorry, not DNC. After all of the Republican debates where you had fucking Ramaswamy and all of those goons arguing with each other, and they would have Gavin Newsom on, and he would look like a fucking shining knight. And now
yeah,
tonight, after the Biden thing, they had Gavin Newsom on, and he was talking all this sense, and he was saying, "Oh, I mean, yeah, Joe Biden. You can't judge a guy based on his most recent performance. He's been doing so well, so much good, and like he was doing a good job of making Biden look good, or at least trying to make Biden look good. And like he's well spoken, and he's a good, like assertive speaker, and he looks a hell of a lot younger than either one of the candidates tonight, and he is, because he's like, I think he's like 56. And like I genuinely think they could literally pull a hot swap and put Gavin Newsom in there as the president, keep Kamala as the VP even, and Gavin would run away with the fucking presidency.
dude. Behind closed doors, he was probably elated that Biden tanked as hard as he did tonight, because he's probably thinking like, DNC's got to
Well,
be
no,
thinking about me right
I
now.
don't know
Like,
if tonight. It felt like the vibe was like they're not going to do a hot swap, even if they maybe should, even if they maybe would be better off doing it, but they probably won't actually.
yeah,
But like at the very least, if Biden does continue this campaign and he really does run again this year, and whether he wins or not, and if we do still have an election in 28, to me, it's down to Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom as the Democratic candidate. Like those are the
yeah.
people that it's going to come down to.
All right, next question.
Next question from Abel. Third and final question from Abel. Actually, who is your high spot and low shot of the calendar year so far? So we're basically doing mid-year high spots and low shots.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna say low shot Kamitani.
That's
S
very fair.
because she lost the white belt. Did she even lose the white belt this year?
No, the white belt was last year. Remember, she lost to Mina.
She did win the high speed title, but like Utami left. She's now like lost QQ more or less, and I think that's huge. And so yeah, I think it's bad for her. Honorary low shot would go to Jey Uso, or excuse me, Jimmy Uso,
Right.
because he lost to Jay, which I know was this year, and then Solo beat the fuck out of him, and we haven't seen him since. Like that's just like wow. There's no worse year than just not even being present, right?
Yep.
Um, High spot's a bit more difficult. Honestly, high spot, I'm gonna say Gunther. Like, I know he lost the IC title, but he's still so fucking dominant. He won King of the Ring, and he's more than likely gonna become the world heavyweight champion in my mind. So I'm gonna say Gunther for high spot. And as far as like an honorary high spot, just because I like to diversify a little bit, uh hmm, no champions have been awarded yet in Monty Gold, so I don't want to say anybody from Monty Gold. No, you know what? I guess I'll just leave it at Gunther because really thinking about it, I'm sure there are like other, maybe Trick Williams, maybe Trick, but like, yeah, it would have to come from WWE as well because I feel like they've been, making the most moves like on that front. So, who are your high spot and low shot, for the year so far?
High spot. No, fuck that. Low shot. Low shot first. Low shot. Seth Rollins.
Fair. That's fair.
Um, again, lost his title at WrestleMania and wasn't really seen after that until very recently. High spot though, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I'm actually, oh god, that's a really tough one. High spot. You know what? My mom just gave me the best answer imaginable. My high spot is Obafemi.
I love that. I love that. Perfect.
He won the North American title this year, dude. It was in January.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And he's been killing it ever since.
Actually, no, he won the breakout tournament in January, which also just means that he won the North American title this year. I don't know if it was in January, February, March, whatever, but he won the North American title this year. He won the breakout tournament this year. He's the best thing going in at least NXT, if not WWE or even the wrestling world right now. Hottest prospect in the world, like he's the shit. Easy high spot for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree
Thank
with
you,
that.
Mom. That was a great pick. No, no, I can't give my low shot to CM Punk because he's gotten way too many revenges.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, unfortunately.
CM
Um,
Punk, basically, CM Punk is the reason that Drew McIntyre couldn't be my high spot.
yeah, that's really a shame. Fuck. Fuck you, Phil.
Yeah.
You said that was the third and final question from Abel.
From Abel, yeah.
Next set of questions.
From Amari.
This is our final set, isn't it?
No, we have 6 from Alex then, too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's fine. All right, Amori's
Four,
questions.
4 from Amari, then 6 from Alex. So we have 10 left.
Okay.
First up from Amari. Thoughts on this debate between storytelling versus work rate in the wrestling community? I told you this was coming up.
I think it's a valid debate, but I just want people to like what they like, but I want people to have options at the same time. Like that's why, like, and to really broaden the stuff about options. That's why I say, and like promotions that are for like say black demographics or this demographic or that demographic, like they're important, right? Especially because like you could have a promotion with black wrestlers, but that doesn't mean representation is guaranteed, and certainly not quality representation. And as far as storytelling versus work rate, like for me personally, again, I feel like it's a fair debate and people can like what they like. But if I'm to weigh in, I feel like the work rate only matters as much as like what they're fighting for, which is why storytelling is foundational. You can do a
Dude, you and I
suplex, a
are
brainbuster.
so on the same page here, and I literally just had this debate with someone on the NFL draft server. It's crazy.
Yeah, because like you can do a brainbuster on the top turnbuckle, but like, why would you go that far in the first place? Well, that's the story. Maybe because they've been unbeatable for a year. Maybe because they slapped my father in the face. That's why I would do something. But just to do a move for the sake of doing it, it just feels like irresponsible at best. and just malicious at worst. But if you give me a motivation like, oh, I've never used this move, but this person's so unstoppable, or this person has pushed me to such a point that I don't even recognize my humanity anymore, that I have to use it, that's what makes the work rate matters. That's what makes the work rate matter, if I could speak. We've been going pretty long here. But yeah, I mean, I think work rate only matters as much as the quality of story that they're working, towards and with. And so, yeah, I feel like story is always going to support the story. It's always going to be the backbone of the work rate is the story. So
Yeah.
storytelling will always be above work
So
rate to
I
me.
actually want to read this because it's short enough that it's not going to take up more than like 5 minutes, probably
Sure.
like two or three.
Yeah.
So okay, so somebody said something about how actually no, this was actually me. I initiated it because someone brought up um or I brought it up something about ZSJ being wasted on Orange Cassidy, right?
Yeah.
And I said, does AEW have a single prospect on the level of Yota Tsuji for New Japan or Oba Femi for WWE? And this dude said, some would say yes. I don't know enough about Tsuji, but Oba, in my opinion, definitely not. He's unmatched anywhere. And I said, in response to them saying some would say yes, who would those people point at? And he said, some would say Nick Wayne or Hook or Daniel Garcia, definitely. Probably Daniel Garcia, to be honest. And then someone else piped in with, yeah, Garcia is the guy people would point to, but he doesn't feel like a prospect. And I said, oh God, do we need to have a discussion about size? And they said, um, in what way? And I said, oh, and then the original person, or the second person that came in that said about how Garcia is the guy people would point to, but he doesn't feel like a prospect, said he doesn't look big, and Eon doesn't like that. I used to go by Eon on the server, so a lot of people still know me as that. I'm going by El Ingobernable now because I used to love Naito, and I haven't changed my name since then because it's just a cool name and I love that. Anyway, so he said, yeah, he doesn't look big, and Ian doesn't like that. I said, whoa, hold your horses. I don't have any problem with guys who don't look big, but I do think bigger is better. All else being equal, give me Danielson over Kali every day of the week, but Danielson's probably the most skilled wrestler of all time, and Kali could barely move. But like Wardlow over Garcia easily. Can we agree
Yeah,
on that?
definitely.
Yeah. So then the original guy said, who mentioned like Nick Wayne, said Wardlow has just zero charisma, LMAO, and I said hard disagree. And then he said, and zero matches as good as Garcia's. I was like, match quality matters so little to me. I don't think of wrestling in terms of match quality. I think of it in terms of characters and storylines. Match quality is great in the moment, but after a few weeks, months, especially years, it's completely irrelevant. And he just replied to me with a bunch of question marks. And then he said, what? And I said, match quality is overrated as fuck. Meltzer brain. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. And then I made an NFL reference, basically saying something related to football that I thought would help relate what I'm saying to him. And then he said, it's Meltzer brain to enjoy the main thing in wrestling. What a crazy take. And I said, the main thing in wrestling is the storytelling. And he said, storytelling in and out of the ring. And I said, correct. It transcends the ring. And he said, storytelling's part of the match. And I said, absolutely. He said, it's very tied into match quality. And I said, but it's so much more than just the match. And then he said, without good matches, you can't do good storytelling, sadly. And I said, that's the same thing. And this was another NFL thing. I'm not even going to bother saying it. And then I said, the storytelling makes the match good, not the other way around. And then he said that he disagrees, that there's a lot that goes into a good match. And I said, yeah, you're right. There is. Absolutely. And then he said that his point is that the story doesn't matter if the matches aren't good. And I said that a highly athletic slash technical match without a great story behind it has a capped ceiling for how good it can truly be, in my opinion. And then he said, and you don't think the same about great storytelling matches without the technical or athletic goodness? And I said, that's literally most Roman matches over the last 4 years, and many of them have been incredible.
Yeah.
And he said, I disagree. Roman matches have had good work, great performances, especially his competitors in some of the better matches. And I said, the Brock Roman Last Man Standing match in SummerSlam 2022 was an all time classic. And I remember, and nothing I remember about that match that made it great had anything to do with work rate. So that was that conversation because it just ended after that. They moved on to a different subject. But like, yeah, this is 100% my take. If I had to choose between work rate or storytelling, meaning I had to have one thing without having any of the other, I would 100% take a bunch of in ring shitters telling amazing stories every day of the week over a bunch of in-ring gods with no storytelling whatsoever.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you, honestly.
But
Yeah.
here's my thing, because the question is, what are your thoughts on this debate in the wrestling community? And like, to me, I think it shouldn't even be a debate, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't be forced to choose. We shouldn't have to have one or the other. WWE gives us both. AEW doesn't even fucking try to give us both.
Yeah.
AEW, this is my problem. This is a huge problem that I've had with AEW since literally day one, since literally the first Double or Nothing that we watched back in 2019 when Moxley showed up. You and I came away from that feeling like, okay, well, this isn't what we thought it was going to be, but at the very least, it can be like a bigger televised PWG, and that's cool. But like, no, it has television. You can't have a television show without compelling storylines. And Tony Khan doesn't give a fuck about telling compelling stories at all.
No, he really doesn't.
It's
No.
infuriating.
Yeah.
Like, to me, if we're min-maxing and we're just saying like what's more important regardless of like where we are, or in terms of where we are, in my opinion, if you have television, if you have a television product, you need to emphasize storytelling over work rate. That's not me saying that work rate doesn't matter. That's not me saying that you should de-emphasize work rate entirely. I just think you need to place an emphasis on storytelling, because that is what gets over on television. It's television. If you want to have work rate matches, have them on your pay-per-views. Have them on your house shows. That's fine. Sprinkle them into your television shows too. I'm not saying you can't have any, but revolving a television product around work rate is a failing business model, and we are literally watching it fail in real time under AEW.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on the matter. I think televised wrestling promotions should emphasize storytelling, and anything else, it doesn't matter. If you're not on television and you want to be a super indie work rate promotion like PWG, feast your fucking heart out. Do what you want. You might even get noticed that way. And I hope you do, and congratulations if you do. But if you want to be more like a Progress in their early days, or like a Riptide Wrestling where you do have the work rate, but you focus more on the storytelling, you're probably going to get noticed that way too. Because at the end of the day, quality is going to get noticed by people. And the way that you get noticed in wrestling these days, if you don't have TV, is viral internet moments.
Yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
have those either way. You can have a viral internet moment by doing crazy flippy shit. You can have a viral internet moment by doing crazy feats of strength. Hell, you can have a viral internet moment by botching. You don't want to do that, but you can. You can have a viral internet moment by having a great promo that you cut. Like there's so many different ways to go viral. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that there are a lot of different ways that it can happen.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's like less limits on what works well when you're not on TV. But when you're on TV, I really do think you have to emphasize storytelling. And Tony Khan right now is proving that I'm right.
Yeah.
So anyway, second question from Amari. Thoughts on the Who Killed WCW documentary? Unfortunately, John, I know you haven't watched it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly, it gave me the itch to go back and watch some 90s WCW stuff, late 90s WCW stuff, and I want to watch more of it. It makes me want to really experience the rise and fall of the company, because I know there's that literal the rise and fall of WCW documentary that WWE put out, but that's a very tinted perspective, very, subjective, favoring WWE, trying to make WCW look bad on purpose because, winners tell history kind of thing, whatever. Um, but I really want to just experience it for myself. Like right now, I think I'm in like 1995 on Nitro or something like that. But like, I want to watch the show develop. I want to watch the build up to the point that the NWO shows up, and I want to kind of feel that for the first time, because I didn't watch WCW in 1996. I started watching in 98, and I stopped watching at the beginning of 99. Like I only watched Nitro for a few months. It wasn't very long, because I started watching, immediately fell in love with Goldberg and the Luchadors and Billy Kidman and Jericho. But like, I fucking love Goldberg, and as soon as he got tasered by Scott Hall, it killed my interest in the product. And by that time, I had already been a fan and watching WWF and starting to invest in their stories. So I had, like a safety net to fall back onto that it didn't completely drop me out of wrestling entirely. So I could just stop watching WCW. And I don't even know if I consciously made the choice to stop watching WCW. I think it was more of just like Goldberg's not the champion on WCW anymore, and WWF's doing compelling stuff. So when I get the choice every Monday night actively, like which show do I watch, I just was kind of like subconsciously making the choice to watch WWF more and more to the point that I stopped giving a shit about WCW entirely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I want to experience it, man. I've watched the first like probably dozen episodes of Nitro at this point, and it's it's entertaining television. What can I say? I'm enjoying it. It's entertaining in like a campy way though, not in like an adult way, which is why I can't wait for the NWO to show up because I know that they definitely make the product turn more towards the adult audience. So, anyway, I enjoyed the documentary. It was a lot of fun. I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. John, I know you and I are planning on watching it probably once we finish Primal Season 2 and get caught up on that. I'm looking forward to that. So, anyway, third question from Amari is how would y'all feel if the territories in wrestling would return?
I'd be fascinated, but probably bored within 6 months to a year. If I'm just being honest about my own
No.
personality.
Dude, I
Yeah.
feel like it would improve wrestling as a whole by a significant amount. A lot. Because here's the thing territories would solve so many of the problems that we have in wrestling right now. It's actually incredible. Because think about it. So many of the problems that we have in wrestling right now are brought on by the fact that it's a duopoly, basically. We
Yeah, that
literally
is
just
very
have
true.
Triple H and Tony Khan control the entire American wrestling scene, basically. And I do mean that because even like TNA, who you would think like, oh, they're this independent rebel promotion, but like they're in a partnership with WWE right now. So like they basically do what Triple H wants them to do at this point, right? And
Yeah.
like Tony Khan owns TNA or owns AEW, but he also owns Ring of Honor. Who the fuck is left? Nobody. PWG isn't even left because they're just an arm of AEW at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That
if
is
we
true.
had actual territories, because here's the thing, there were over a dozen territories back in the day before Vince decided he wanted to go national and be a monopoly. So if we had territories, we would have so many wrestling products to choose from, and we would be able to do what we already do in a way more effective way. Because what do we already do? We follow the talents that we like. If we like someone, we watch their shit. And guess what? We would be able to follow them from territory to territory. They would be going to work in Florida territory and they would do like a 6 month or a year long run there, or even an 18-month run there. And then they would like get the shit kicked out of them and get written off the promotion. But then they would show up again, like in the New York territory. We'd be like, oh shit, they showed up there. We get to watch them there. It would be the shit, dude. I would love that.
Some salient points. Maybe I wrote it off too quickly. Yeah, it'd be interesting, especially in this day and age with social media and everything. Like, there'd be a lot of reach for I think every territory. You wouldn't have to worry about
Yes,
tape trading or anything.
dude, we would get to see the best of every promotion every time it happened.
Yeah, that's pretty wild,
And it
actually,
would
when you put it
end the
that way.
monopoly too, so there would be actual competition between all of the promotions. So if people were fucking up at their job, like if someone wrote a shitty, insensitive, garbage storyline, they could actually be held accountable for it. It wouldn't just be like, oh, well, I mean, who else are you going to go to? Like,
I love that you just spoke as a promoter that just knows you've got no other options. Fuck
yeah.
you.
That's that's
Uh,
the, that's the beautiful thing about it, man. Because there would be, it's like, dude, wrestling with territories and transparency with visibility the way that social media brings, that's like the fucking wrestling utopia that we've been waiting for our whole lives.
yeah, that's true. Maybe I've just given up on it. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's
But
never going to happen for sure unless
yeah.
unless we really do get a communist revolution that breaks up the monopolies for real.
Oh yeah, then that's definitely not happening. There's no left in America. That's not happening. We're fucked. So
All right, fourth and final question from Amari. What's your favorite part of history to learn about? And then Amari said that their favorite is learning about Islamic history and more obscure parts of history in general.
I really like that answer, Maury. That's a really cool aspect of your personality. For me as a kid, I always used to love learning about the Enlightenment and Revolution. Now as an adult, I'm loving learning about like decolonization movements. Both the history of Africa, like as far as because that's what I'm reading recently. How it got colonized, but also like Marxism in Africa. which is just really fucking wild to think about. And yeah, like I think that's kind of where my history interest is kind of going, is in like the global south, is in the quote unquote third world, and just the history of resistance in that region. And also, like you, I am kind of looking more at Islamic history, history of the Middle East, with stuff going on in Palestine, Iran. I think it is very interesting. They're actually going to have an election soon for their new president, given that their one died in that helicopter crash, not at all suspiciously. So yeah, I think I'm also kind of sharing with you in that.
CIA say what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, they're too busy with Bolivia right now. How'd that failed coup go again? Um,
Oh, I'm
geez.
so glad to hear it failed. That's heartwarming.
Oh yeah, the military arrested that leader, and they're like, "Yeah, you're not getting our lithium today, fuckwad." But they'll try
That's
again
amazing. I love
because
that for Bolivia.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, like obviously, like I live here and I want this country to be better, but talking purely in terms of America as like global terrorist slash empire, if I want anybody to get the last and fatal blow, it's Latin America. We
Dude,
owe that to them
yes.
so bad.
Dude, I know
Like,
the way that the right vilified Venezuela a few years ago, and
yeah.
now like fucking the way that like dude, I still think about Lula, right? It's Lula in Brazil.
N- I know. I think you were right that it was Lulu. I think. Is it Lula? I thought it was Lulu.
It is Lula. It is Lula.
Oh, it is Lulu. So yeah, you were right the first time. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, like that. I'm so glad that he's there now instead of Bolsonaro.
Oh, dude, and honestly, I think with that, because you said Brazil, right? And I
Yeah,
think Brazil wants to join BRICS. I hope every Latin American country joins BRICS. I,
yeah.
I really do, because I will laugh so hard if the U.S. suffers de-dollarization, and it's like Latin,
Dollarization.
and it's like Latin America, please, what did we ever do so wrong? Laughs in every democratic election you ever upended, ever, you fucks, burn in hell.
Yeah.
Like, if any people, like all peoples deserve self determination, right? But if any peoples, I would be overjoyed to see it with how often they got screwed by us. It is Latin America, 1000%.
Yep.
Because every Democratic election they had, the US is just looking like, oh, wow, a candidate that doesn't serve our interests.
Would be a shame if someone were to throw a coup.
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys sure you're happy here? No, I gotta tell you guys, as a leftist, it is amazing like how my priorities have changed because before, if you would make me have a top three list, which I'm not gonna go through all three because I'm not about to hem and haw for another 30 fucking minutes, but I would say that fomenting class war here would be like a top priority, awakening class consciousness in the US. Now I think the biggest thing that's gonna be a motor for change is decolonization. Is the Democratic Republic of Congo driving out the colonizers? Is Africa as a continent becoming more unified? Is fucking any colonized place, Hawaii for fuck's sake? If Hawaii was to be like, you know what, fuck you, Puerto Rico the same way, fuck you. Like, yeah,
Dude, even
decolonization
even
everywhere.
Cuba right now is undergoing some serious shit.
What are they undergoing? Because I've
I mean,
missed
dude,
that.
Cuba has been under the thumb of the US for decades at this point. And there are some very real rebellions going on right now. It is wild.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, because you're not even wrong, because the U.S. has been sanctioning Cuba since the days of fucking Castro. And what concerned me was when Castro died, it seemed like the U.S. was buying up more property in Cuba. Like there were more like bourgeois kind of interests coming into Cuba. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how the country's doing on that front, but I know they're still being sanctioned, as is Iran, by the way. But let's check in on Iran, shall we? Oh my God, look. Families are selling their organs on the black market to feed their loved ones. That's not concerning. Wonder why that is. Reminder everybody that famines are politically instituted. 100%. Just remember when people are starving and they're like, "Man, that really sucks." Just follow the fucking money and you'll probably find the US somewhere. Somewhere. So yeah, I what was even the original question again? I'm sorry. I blacked out because of my
Oh, it was
fucking rage
about
at my.
time in history that you like to learn about. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
this
no, well, yeah, Maury, and yeah, just I'll tell you the time in history that I'm loving learning about is right now because Ashton can even tell you the giddiness that I get in my voice when I tell him about bricks or I tell him about any fucking resistance in the Middle East or Latin
It's
America
true, he
or anywhere.
does, and it's
Be-
worthy.
because like people are getting tired. I think there is no more important time in history to pay attention to than the one that you're living in because you're going to live through the reverberations and the changes. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of scary shit coming down the pipeline. And I'm not going to act like there isn't. But man, if you're a hardcore leftist like us and you just want to see something, it's also an exciting time because countries are getting tired. Now, I'm not necessarily a fan of those countries. I am not pro Putin. I do not fuck with tankies. The whole North Korea standing. I'm so, like, I don't think America tells the whole truth about North Korea, but that doesn't mean North Korea is good, right? And that's kind of where I am with them. China the same way. I don't even look at China as communist, not with the oppression that they've got there with the Great Firewall of China and everything else. I don't think we have a true communist nation in this country. Closest
in this
maybe still
world.
might in this world, yeah. In this way, yeah. I said we have a communist country in this country. Tautological much, but no, I don't think we have a true communist country in this world. Venezuela may be the closest, and even that, I don't know what's happened since some of the political figures. What was it? Hugo Chavez. Since he died, I don't really know what's happened with Venezuela then. But no, the answer is decolonization, 100%. Like, I was even telling my sister the other day, these computers and these phones we enjoy, if the Congolese were to come back and be like, hey, you know what? We're done being exploited to have our cobalt taken from us. Fuck you. And then we saw a depreciation of the technology. You know what the two words out of my mouth would be? Worth it. I don't give a fuck. I really want to see people reclaim their self determination, and that's the history that I care about seeing. Is the history we're seeing right now because it's fascinating stuff is happening, y'all. And if you don't know about it, look up BRICS, BRICS, because I guarantee you in 10 years you're gonna wish that you did. It's a game changer. I'm watching that so fucking closely. It's not even funny. So let's get on to Foster's questions. The main event. This handsome son of a bitch. I fucking love him so much. What are his questions?
First up, if you were both running for president, what smear campaign commercials would you run about each other?
Oh God. Well, I already kind of told about it. I would just do an absurd campaign about how Ashton's a data deviant and how he's going to sniff all of your spreadsheets if he gets into office. So I would do something totally innocuous, but turn up the volume to absurd fucking proportions until people are irrationally scared of it, because that's what it means to be an American politician. So yeah, I would just do it on his love of data and spreadsheets and just host and win the election. So that would be my smear campaign.
I kind of hate that you were so easy on me because I had something in my mind that was definitely a lot meaner.
Yeah, well, go ahead, let it rip. You have to win the presidency.
Yeah, no, I would hire a team of people to go back through the history of our videos and watch all of them and pick out all the times that you've talked about weird stuff like sniffing scalps and cannibalism and play that.
That's so true. You know what though? I would own it. I'd be proud of you. I'd be like, "Oh wow, thanks for the collection. Can I keep this?"
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd be like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, man, you can keep it and I'll even pardon you for it when I'm president.
yeah. But no, see, Ashton's a pretty squeaky clean guy. There's really nothing any I could like punch him below the belt about. He's a good dude. I think we'd be so lucky to have a person of his character as president. I'd vote for him. So there
And
you
just
go.
like that, you swung the vote in your favor.
Yeah. Next question for Foster.
As the newest members of the D'Angelo family, Johnny the Mouth and Tiny, what mafia tasks would Tony D put you in charge of?
Please let me extort at least one business, please, please.
I feel like I'm just the bouncer at Olive Garden.
Yeah. No, you know what I am? I'm I'm the messenger. That's what, like, I'm not the muscle, but I'm the guy that
No,
relays the
that's me.
messages that
I'm the
says like,
muscle.
yeah, you're the like that's what you said, like you're the bouncer. I'm the guy that relays messages like, hey, Tony's a little worried that you've been behind on your payments. It'd be really nice if you did that. Fuck off. See, that was the wrong answer because now I have to go back and tell them that you said that and like
No, dude, it would
fucking
be
make
perfect. You and I
arguments.
would continue to work as a team. We would be Enzo and Big Cass. You would talk your shit. And if anyone challenged you or didn't make their payments on time, they would have to deal with me.
On the mouth. This is tiny. Make sure you get your payments in. Capiche? And you'd be like, bro, why are you doing the accents? Bro, we're in a mob now. I'm living this.
Yes, I live for it. Yes.
uh, Next question from Foster.
What Yu-Gi-Oh card would you love to have if it worked in real life?
Does this count with fusion cards?
Of course.
Um, Black Magician of Chaos. Just like
Why?
because he looks so fucking cool. Like I could just
But what
play
is
it.
his effect that you want to work in real life?
Just the dark arts, I guess. Like it's a magician, right? So like, I don't know. Spells will do the rest. I could terrorize my enemies slowly. Yeah, there's another soundbite for your campaign, by the way. Um, But yeah, like it'd be so great. If I had to choose like an actual magic or trap card, like obviously Monster Reborn, I would be on death's door and then I could just play it and resurrect myself or some kind of
But
resurrection
Monster
based card.
Reborn brings things back from the graveyard, so you'd have to rely on somebody else to play it for you.
Well, I would. I'd have a trustee. I'm well connected. I
Would
could
you really
totally pull
trust
it
me
off.
to do that for you?
I didn't say you specifically. Let's not get too excited. I
Would
mean,
you
you'd be
really
on the
trust your
list.
sister to do that for you?
I would trust, yeah, I would trust either of you to do it, or Angel, or somebody. Yeah, yeah, fuck yeah. Bring me back to life so I can do it all over again.
Like the Evanescence song?
Sure. Hazardous is here. Yeah, yeah, hazardous. We've been going hard on this one. Final question from Foster.
No, not even close. We're only on number 3, and I never even answered it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what card would you have?
I would want the magic cylinder.
I knew you were gonna say. I think that's why I want to skip it because I'm like, right, that magic cylinder. Yeah, I knew that. Um,
Everything you want to say, I can just magic cylinder and throw it right back at your face.
oh my god. Oh my god. All right.
Yeah. Next up, what kids movie could have been more enjoyable if it was rated for older audiences, like PG-13 or even R?
Secret of Nim, maybe? And it's already a fantastic movie, but I feel like if you were able to be a bit more adult in terms of themes, like maybe it could have pushed it over. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Huh. Interesting.
All dogs go to heaven.
Oh God.
Uh, and no, they don't, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They do.
Wow.
I mean, I'm surprised you didn't say Lion King.
Oh god, that would have been delicious. Fuck.
Ah,
Yeah, that would have been
ah.
great. Oh my god.
All right.
Mm.
I'm God, that's actually a really hard question for me to answer.
Yeah, he stumped the hell out of us.
Well, I mean, you immediately popped out Secret of Nim,
Yeah.
so you stumped the hell out of me. Um, kids movie that should have been more adult. What kids movie left me wanting more? How about the Illumination Grinch? That felt like a non-movie to me.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That was purely a cash grab.
Yeah. All right.
Mostly
The
like
next question is the other side of the coin. What adult movie would have been more enjoyable if it was rated more kid friendly, like PG or G?
I'm gonna say Whiplash for the lulz.
Oh my god,
Oh god, Saving Private Ryan. I don't know.
bro, are you even trying?
Trying to traumatize the next generation. Fuck yeah. Um, they could just do that one South Park parody where they switch everything with walkie talkies. They're kid friendly. Um, let me think. Adult movie that would have been better if it was more made for kids. That's actually a very interesting question. But see, now you're gonna stump the fuck out of me because I really don't know.
Can you think of a movie that had an excessive amount of either violence, foul language, or sex in it that you feel like would have been made better if it had none of whatever that thing is?
So less gratuitous,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, fuck.
You know what? I actually do. No, never mind. I don't.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I had hope for 2 seconds. Uh, I'm actually curious what like Footloose and stuff like their movie rating was because that's another thing too with movie ratings. There were things that would have been appropriate for kids like decades ago that maybe people don't think now, and vice versa. And so like we also have to think about the cultural environment in which ratings are instituted. And so I have to wonder if there were movies that were like rated R where it's like, it's not that bad. And maybe kids could watch this today. And then movies that were rated like even PG or PG-13 where I'm like, what the fuck? Smack an R rating on that. Um, 'Cause yeah, if you do anything like too gory or too gratuitous, like it's just gonna be really hard. But if you do something that was like more adult, but not so much more adult in like subject matter than maybe like actual visual content, then maybe I think you can get away with it. But I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. Um,
What is even like who gives these ratings out? What is the name of the group
isn't
that
it the
gives them?
MPAA,
MPAA.
the Motion Picture Association of America? I
Footloose
think
was rated
so.
PG.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Um, uh, uh,
Greece should have been our last question. Greece should have been rated higher so they could have actually shown the death on screen.
yeah, there you go. They didn't die. Yes, they did. We all know they did. Uh,
No death.
wow.
It works her up every time.
Bestie, you know I love you, but you need to let this go and you need to accept it. We're right. Um, God, I feel like I'm gonna pay for that later. But yeah, I'm stumped. I'm just gonna say that I'm stumped because I can't waste any more time like trying to think.
Okay.
Like it's
You know
not gonna
what? I
come to
think
me.
that's fair and reasonable. I apologize, Alex. If we think of anything, we'll message you or we'll post it in the Discord. In the meantime,
Yeah.
though, the final wholesome question from Alex Foster,
Oh
and
yay.
I should rephrase that. The final question from Alex Foster, which is an extremely wholesome one. What is your favorite thing about each other?
Oh, I've actually thought about this lately. Um,
I want to go first. We'll alternate. I'll go first, then you go, then I'll go, then you go. If we have more than
oh
one.
sure,
So
sure.
I was actually thinking about this earlier because one of the things that I've really thought about a lot with you is that I feel like whenever some kind of like controversial thing comes up or a moral question or anything like that, I feel like you always land on the right side almost immediately. I feel like you have one of the, and it's fucking incredible because of the way that you were brought up, but you have one of the best moral compasses on anyone I've ever met in my life, possibly the best moral compass on anyone I've ever met in my life.
That's wild to me because I was going to say that it's his compassion and it's his moral character because it's not just a matter of him um just landing on the right side. It's him really always striving to understand everything. And I think his desire for understanding in a time in a lot of places, not just America, but especially America, where that's in such short supply because either people just don't have the bandwidth, understandably, that's not even necessarily a judgment, there's a lot going on, or people just are more comfortable in their willful ignorance. His desire to understand and how that informs him morally, I think is a really beautiful aspect of his character.
See, but that's such a
100%.
big difference between us, though, because for me, my initial instinct on a lot of things isn't always right, or at the very least, it isn't always perfectly right, and it
Yeah.
takes me that effort and understanding to arrive at the right conclusion. Whereas I feel like with you, it's like boom, you hear something or you see something, and your immediate conclusion is the one that it takes me a while to get to eventually, which is the right one.
But see, it's funny though that you give me that credit. I mean, I'm deeply appreciative, but like I feel like you're the more pragmatic of the two of it. Like you keep me grounded because when I'm ready to just throw the bathwater out, and believe me, I have been so tempted to on so much lately. You keep my eye on the ball. Even if we both don't like how the ball looks because it's moldy and crusty and deflated over generations of buck shit, you're like, no, there are always material stakes. Like these aren't just, I don't think I've ever treated them, to be fair to myself, as purely intellectual questions, but it's like you can't just let Twitter be the end of it, right? And
Dude,
I think you're such a good anchor to people. And I think you're always so reasonable with people with how you mediate and you like conduct things. And I think what I love most about him, and there is a lot, of course, his face. But I love that like he's never content with himself. Like even now, and now that's his personal journey. I'm not going to get into specifics about it, but he's working so hard to better himself. And that's not always easy because you've got to choose to do it every day. And he's like, he's making that choice because he knows he's worth it and he is. And just the idea that he wants to better himself and he wants to learn more and he wants to know how to maximize things for his own life and the lives of people he cares about is just a very beautiful person. Just a very, very beautiful person.
I really appreciate that, man. I really
Yeah,
do.
big hugs to you,
I do
bud.
have
No,
more. I do have more, by the way,
okay,
about
well,
you.
yeah, let's keep going.
But before I get to that, I also just realized that I never answered Amari's fourth question.
Oh shit. Okay.
The
Yeah.
part of history that's my favorite to learn about,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we
Oh
got
yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sidetracked.
Yeah. Sorry
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the thing is, I wanted to answer this, and I was enthusiastic about answering this because it's literally U.S. history, and it's not like recent history. It's like going back and like peeling back the fucking layers on how we ended up in the shithole that we are today. And like, it's unbelievable, dude, that you can literally trace back like slave owner states, that like the way that they shaped fucking everything. Like it's unbelievable how the roots that got dug in 400 fucking years ago have barely budged today. It is unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like slavery is illegal, and yet like it's hard to fucking tell sometimes.
No, absolutely. Because I sometimes like to make the joke, and I think I heard it originally from somebody else. Like slavery never ended; it just transformed, and I think
Yes.
that's 1000% true. Like, absolutely, bro.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
left chattel slavery and we moved to wage slavery basically.
Yeah.
And even we even have basically chattel slavery now in prisons.
Yeah, that's dude, when I hear I think in California prison, especially because you know the wildfires they deal with, when they use prison labor as firefighters, and yet they couldn't even be firefighters if they wanted to when they got out.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the levels of fuck that is to me.
Yep.
Like,
And yet like now
Christ.
we're in a situation where like convicted felons in our country can't even vote for the convicted felon that might be about to be president.
Dude, it's so bad. Sorry. That's so bad. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. I think I just broke myself. Fuck.
Um so the last thing that I, or not, maybe not the last thing, but another thing that I wanted to talk about that I absolutely love about you is your ability to communicate, not just in general, but specifically to people about things that they're struggling to communicate to each other. Because I know I've encountered this many times where I'm trying to talk to someone about something and I feel like I'm not getting my point across and I'm getting frustrated and irritated and angry. And I feel like, what the fuck? How do you not understand this? And then you step in, say two sentences, and everything gets resolved right away.
I will say another thing I love about him. I have like I strive to have, I should say. I should never say with absolutism like I do have. I strive to have like a very politically and morally informed view. But he actually like when he expands his consciousness, he'll ride the fucking wave. So like when Ashton got more mindful of like the black struggle and black issues and like how what a fuck deal black people get like in this country and abroad. Like he actually I think has deepened his sense of solidarity because he has a deeper sense of cultural appreciation in terms of music, in terms of cinema, stuff like that. Like he's turned me on to things because I don't really go in those parts. Like it's funny that I can like appreciate the struggle almost like an abstract way, but I still love. Like I've never read a lick of African philosophy, for instance, but like Ashton, if he was in my shoes, he 100% would. Like he is so culturally rich, like multiculturally rich, far more than I am. And he's more expansive in that way and conscious. And another thing, just before I forget it, that I do want to tag on, I love I don't want to put it in an insulting way because I obviously don't mean it in an insulting way. I love that he isn't afraid to like appease his inner child in a way. Like he's willing to laugh at himself. He's willing to have fun. He knows that life is meant to be fun and it's not meant to be this serious thing where you have a stick up your ass. Like the silliness that we get into, like off of here, is absurd to me sometimes in the best way. Cause I even thought to myself today, I think back to like how we talk to each other sometimes, and I'm like, no two functional adults like talk to each other that way. But I feel like that's why we work because I feel like so many people they're like when you get to a certain age you have to leave childhood behind or whatever, and like Ashton 100% seems like that guy with his whole chest that says like that's a bunch of bullshit. Like I did not like get willed into existence against my will to like not have at least as much fun as possible while I'm fucking here. And like he could be goofy, he could be silly, but like I deeply respect that because I know it's so fucking cliche, but I do think one thing that we can never let the ruling class take from us is our ability to laugh and our ability to love and have fun because I don't believe in revolutions based on revenge or vengeance. I do believe in revolutions based on joy. I do believe in revolutions based on affirming life. And he is just a very life affirming personality, even though at the same time, and this is what's so great about him, he balances that so deftly with being pragmatic. Like he's never like idealistic, but he's never so dour as to give up on life completely. And I think that's a very admirable personality. And I think if more of the left had that, I'm not saying we'd have revolutions, but I think we'd have a more robust party. And I think we'd have definitely more viable material wins that we could point to rather than I made this really funny Marx meme. Please clap. So yeah, I love his whimsy in a word, I guess,
Yeah.
is definitely something I
Well, and
appreciate.
that's the other thing too with you is like I think that part of your moral compass and part of what drives that is your idealism is that like you're not willing to settle for great. You want that ideal. You want to
Yeah.
be able to reach that and you have such a fervor for revolution that like even if sometimes we do have to kind of have discussions and talk about like realism. I do
Yeah.
think it's beautiful that like you want to see the best in all of the people that you see.
Yeah.
You always do. That's literally since the first like year that I knew you. I knew that you had this thing where you always saw the best in people. You always saw somebody as the best version of themselves, even if they hadn't achieved that version of themselves yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's fucking beautiful. And I think I actually see that in Abel now too. Abel is like that too. Abel sees the best version of people in themselves. And it's beautiful that like you're not even related by blood, and yet you still have that in common, and you call each other father and son. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh man, Foster, what a feel good question. Uh
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, that was so like I almost want to cry actually after that. That was beautiful. It's 3 a.m. Holy fucking shit. Thank God we do this shit quarterly now.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
Jesus
done
Christ.
though. That was the last one.
Yeah, I haven't even started cooking my rice dish yet, bro. This is gonna be another night where I'm up late as fuck. Holy shit. All right,
Well, shit,
guys.
man. I'm willing to stay up with you if you're gonna be staying up a little later.
I mean, dude, honestly, because I do want to get through that YouTube content we have, bro. Like
Yeah.
I do. I'm kind of looking at it, and like I'm sure you want to do games. I
You're
don't even know if
side
I'd be.
eyeing it.
Yeah, I'm side eyeing and I'm like, it's kind of like no, that's a story you wouldn't even get. But we have this thing in our house where it's like this almost like this ball of moss. I know there's a Japanese term for it, but it grows and it can last for like generations. And I remember once I side-eyed it and I looked at Christian, I'm like, it's getting kind of big. Like, we sure it's safe. And yeah, I'm just looking at that pile and I'm like, I know you want to grow, but we won't let you. We won't let it happen. But anyway, yes, guys, thank you so much. There are still 4 people watching this. Literally fucking how.
Dude, we've had four
Um,
people watching this pretty much the entire time.
yeah. I don't know how you guys do it, but I fucking love you for it. You're all a
I
bunch
know
of
my
crazy
mom's one
motherfuckers
of
like
them.
us. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm turned
I
to bit
mean,
up though
we know
after all
that
that
Rotten
love.
Butter and Super Blue were here at one point, but we also know that Rotten Butter dipped at one point.
Yeah, he went back in the fridge.
We know that Abel
Um,
and Hazardous were both here at one point. I don't know if they are still.
so quarterly is every 3 months, right?
Yeah, so the next one is at the end of September.
Yes, and that will be September 26th.
Oh,
Um,
it's earlier.
I it is, I know. Uh, Your tone was perfect on that. That's another thing. Just a slight thing. His tone. This dude's fucking delivery on shit. Even when he's being serious, sometimes I can't help but laugh. Like even today, before I went live with Stardom, which I have to apologize to everybody. I kind of held us up because I just wanted to bond with his mom, and it's like, wow, really? You're like doing this right now? I think he said something like, because I was against him, like, wow, I can't believe you'd have headphones on right now. Like, how could you do this to me? And he was just like, can you get over it? And it's just like his delivery. I was like, eek, fucking eek. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Cool, yeah, sure. His tone is immaculate in every situation imaginable.
And you know
So
what?
yeah,
Just because you tacked the fourth one on, now I have to as well. You are good for literally everyone's ego that you love because everyone that you love, you always shower with love and compliments all the time. And I love that about you.
yay. Also, to kind of put myself over, his tone and my cackle, perfect pair. Um, so yes. Yes, golf clap, yes. Yeah, September 26th, guys, get your questions in. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ashton. Like, God, I'll still do a pin tweet just because I like you guys to know that it's there. But literally, bro, let's expand my pin tweet that I did for this Q&A, shall we? Literally, it's GoFundMe's for Palestinians, which is the most depressing thing I think I've ever said into a WoW history. So yeah, I guess if you want to do something good, check out the GoFundMe's that are on the pin tweet for Q&A. And I'm sorry to all the Palestinians that I'm gonna have to unpin this, but I will swap it out with a fresh pin tweet. The world is on fire, people. Do what you can. And so yeah, we will see you September 26th. I think most people are content with just submitting questions through YouTube or Discord. Being a Discord member is $3 a month. There's a Q&A channel. It gets used a
Being
lot.
a Discord member is $3 a month, but if you want to be in the Discord and the Minecraft server, that's $5 a month.
Do it and then lay torches everywhere. Don't be like me. The darkness is not your friend. Uh, hey, I'm
I
helping the
love
server.
that you have played Minecraft less than a dozen times in your life, and you've still brought that with you.
Yes. It changes a man. Um, so
John is literally just like a mole in Minecraft. He just digs a hole and doesn't give a fuck about anything else.
You say it that way, but it's my hole, okay? In a lot of ways, it's my hole. There are others like it, but this is mine. Um,
I wish you would have said that in Trump voice. It would have been S tier.
oh, do I want to try? No, I don't want to try it because I
It's
think the
my
fantasy
hole.
is.
There may be other hoes like it, but this one is mine.
They talked about golf scores. We're so fucked. So yeah. Okay, I had to breathe there because I was thinking about life too much for a second.
Oh God,
I
I heard the despair.
I think I think I think if I was to give the best advice, I really need to eat, and I'm probably not gonna eat for another hour because the rice still needs to cook.
I'm not gonna eat for another 13 hours.
Oh God. Oh God. I hope it gets up to temp. But anyway, I think I think that I think the Discord would be the best place to submit your questions. Okay? So just pay the $3 if you've got it. And if you don't, we're not classist. I have a pin tweet that's free because you don't need to pay for premium. I would really, really not trust your sensitive card information on this app when porn bots are the only things that like your tweets anymore. And YouTube. YouTube is also it's a thing. So yeah, submit that September 26th. And as far as for TWitWoW fans that are like more, even though we just gave you a little over a 3-hour thing.
Almost three
Actually
and a
no.
half.
Yeah, actually no. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, you're right. Almost 3.5. And you're thinking more, and I'm like, okay, okay.
Fucking
We
relax.
yeah, maybe see, that's what I mean by the tone. I was too meek. I was just gonna be like, oh, okay, it's fine. And then he's like, no, relax. And I'm like, yes, that's the stern father leadership we fucking need. We're I don't know what's happening. We're doing in
Finished it.
review. We're doing in review Saturday at 10:30.
It's going to
And
be incredible because I will have watched actual episodes of 1997 or 95 WCW Nitro, so I'll have something to talk about in the extracurricular section.
Todd, I wanted to squeak a little. That's me squeaking a little. And I'll probably have decent opinions too. I've been known to have those every now and again.
He's got the best opinions, people. They really are
Oh
the best.
God, we are so fucked. That impression is so good. Um, so yeah, I just, come on over. Have a laugh. It'll be a real gas. It'll be a fucking great time. And yeah, until then, and then we're off Sunday because, fucking obviously. So yeah,
Sundays are for rest, even for non Christians.
hey, exactly. Yeah. Screw you, Jesus. I don't know why I said that. I probably just
No,
started
no, no. If
contradicting.
Jesus was real, he was a socialist. I love Jesus.
That's true. Jesus was based as hell and
Yeah.
totally non-white. Learn fucking
Yeah.
geography, you fucking assholes. So you know what? Based Jesus, fuck the perversion of Jesus. That's what really needs to get fucked. Fuck you, Christianity, as an institutionalized religion. Fuck you. Um, I don't know what's happening. So yeah, join us Saturday. Tomorrow's SmackDown, which is technically today because it's 3 a.m. Join us in the Discord for
Today's
that.
Friday,
Watch
though. It's Friday.
that isn't that what I said?
I
I
thought you
thought
said
that's what
Saturday. I'm sorry.
No, I probably did. No, it's okay. I'm the Joe Biden of this group when it gets to be this late. It's fine. So yeah, join
We
us
don't.
for
Please don't defeat Medicare.
yeah. Oh God. Yeah, Medicare defeated me when they slashed my fucking benefits. No, I
I
think
mean,
SmackDown will be great.
you should have known better than to have your dad die.
You're so right. Stop chasing the dragon. It'll be bad for me. But yeah, SmackDown should be great. We'll hear Tama Tonga make noises. We'll see Jacob Fatu do things, and we'll see Paul Heyman be terrified for his own life. So it should be a great episode. And we'll
Ah,
see Cody appeal to Proud Boys more implicitly, because he did also end racism.
oh
So
please, it's explicit at this point. Look at his fucking neck.
that's do I have to? It's such a sore.
An
But
eyesore.
yes. Oh God, Jimmy Carter is still alive. Can I
Do
just
you
say
think they'll
how
run him
amazing?
instead of Biden?
Honestly, even with and I want to say this sensually, even though it's terrifying, but it's also alliterative. Even with the metastasized melanoma, I still think he's the better candidate. Oh, fuck. So clearly, what we learned is I should not be trusted with anything. My weird predilections are out of fucking control, and we will see you all Friday. And so Friday in the Discord, Saturday on here for in review. You've all been a wonderful audience, and look, I'm actually going to be serious here because I've this debate tonight to kind of put the fear of God back into me. I know I usually do this outro a lot, but this time I really, 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 really mean it. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Take care of each other. Support each other. Tune into whatever makes you happy. And if you've chosen this, then on some level we make you happy. And I cannot tell you what that means to both of us. And keep your peace as much as you can, because Empire ain't doing a single motherfucker a favor. Peace out, y'all. Take care.